Cigar Company is your one-stop shop for all your cigar needs. Whether that's a brand new humidor, a box of those new cigars you've been waiting for, a top-of-the-line cutter or lighter, a place to enjoy the finest cigars and spirits with friends, or the only cigars grown right here in the Sunshine State, we've got you covered. Come visit one of our retail locations for the ultimate cigar experience. Visit us online at coronacigar.com.
How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Corona Cigar Studios for episode 258 of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you so much for joining us live on all of the special places: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and
Rumble.
We are so grateful as always to have you guys with us. And of course, if you're listening after the fact on the audio podcast, thank you so much for making How About That Cigar a part of your regular audio podcast rotation. We really do appreciate that. And of course, make sure that you are clicking on all the big, beautiful buttons: the like button, the subscribe button, the follow button. It helps us out so much, and we really do appreciate it. And that also means that you won't miss anything that we have going on here at How About That Cigar. Now, you may see that things look just a little bit different this week. We are on the road.
Maybe a little crowded.
It's crowded, but it's okay. It's comfortable. You know,
I like 2 out of the 3 guys. The guy by you, the guy by you smells like bacon.
Who doesn't like the smell of bacon though?
Muslims.
Well, I guess, but yeah, I mean, I love the smell of bacon. So honestly, give me more bacon smells. I just want more bacon smells in my life.
Bacon is good.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Bacon soda, bacon ice cream.
So we're on the road. We're in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the Haddon. I think I'm saying that correctly. It used to go by a different name that I'm not going to say because I don't want to get our friends in trouble.
And nobody's been shot.
Yeah. And
good start.
We are here with Founders Cigar Company. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Love having you guys on. Love being back in this spot again, although the team has grown, but we like that. There's a lot more people to talk to, a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Grateful to have you guys on episode 258. Normally we open up with a little, local sports talk. It's kind of like not fun to talk about. Like the Twins are backsliding. They dropped into 3rd place. The Wild, hockey's not underway yet, so
it's kind of a dead time of the year.
It is a dead time of the year.
State fair is going on.
State fair is going on.
The Vikings went 3-0 in preseason.
And yeah, preseason. That's
which is always an excellent indicator.
That they're going to do shit.
What's to come. Absolutely.
Preseason is what truly tells the tale of whether a team's going to be good or not.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Win out in the preseason and then
shit to bed the rest of the year.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. Sorry, guys. So
don't love you at all.
No. But what about your Jets, Raul? I mean, you've been experiencing pain basically your whole life as a football fan.
Yeah. I mean, when I was 1 year old, I really celebrated that one Super Bowl we had. Ever since then, it's been shit in the bed. But
it's downhill from there.
But your Yankees are in first place. They are all alone in first place.
Yes, they are.
And we fell to 3rd. So
that's good. Well, at least the Twins don't have to play.
Well, the playoff picture as it looks right now,
Yankees in the playoffs. We know what happens there.
It's basically the Angels. It's basically back and forth between the Twins and the Royals right now. But what are you going to do?
I hope the Twins make it.
So if we do, we're going to play the Yankees. It's going to be first round against the Yankees, and I want nothing to do with that. I don't want any part of that. Not a bit. And of course, speaking of baseball, we want to remind you guys about Cigars and Baseball, and that is coming up on September 12th. Yep. I think I said 14th last time, which was the date last year. Thank you. September 12th, which is 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away.
Yeah.
I think you guys are going to be there too, right?
We will be there. Actually, these guys will be there.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be?
We have another event that has the last couple of years landed on the same night.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We do a big PGA tournament event out there every year.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah. But I will be representing.
Oh, I like it.
This is my 4th year, I think, doing Cigars and Baseball.
Yeah, and it's a great event, guys. So if you live in the Twin Cities area and don't have tickets yet, you still can get them. So go to cigarsbaseball.com, cigarsbaseball.com. You can still get tickets. You're going to get access to some fantastic cigars food from great local restaurants, catering companies, those bundt cakes.
Spirit.
I mean, it's worth it just for the
God.
bundt cakes alone. But yeah, all
Spirits,
kinds
barley.
and a lot of spirits, a lot of great breweries.
And it's awesome to smoke outside at a baseball stadium and watch baseball.
Yes.
I
It's
love that.
amazing.
What's crazy about that event? It was the first year we did it. I can't remember why we had something else going on too, and we were going to be a little shorthanded for it. And so I felt bad asking a couple of my friends, "Hey, do you want to come work this event?" You know, I kind of know what it's about. After that first year, I have friends lining up like, if whoever you need, put me first on the list to that event, because it's just you walk around, you eat, you drink, and you smoke, and you hang out with cool people. It's such an awesome event for an awesome cause.
Oh, David Floyd says we should fly him up for it. Yeah, we'll just take that out of petty cash, Dave.
We'll submit that to the board.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. The board just said no.
Oops.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, buddy.
Sorry. Maybe next year, brother. So let's do. Oh, that's the wrong glass. That's the wrong glass. Let's do the Spirit of Mystery, brought to us by our friends at Postania Cigars. Do you find yourself unsatisfied with the top 10 list from How About That Cigar? Are you wondering how cigars from Postania didn't make the HBTC list but found their way onto other lists? Well, fortunately, you can be reminded every week with this Postania Cigars advertisement. Postania Cigars, the #1 unranked cigar in the industry. Raul, don't reveal it, obviously, but give me just the basics on what's in the glass here.
It's from Tennessee.
Tennessee. Smooth as Tennessee whiskey. Oh, I can't sing that on the show.
No,
We'll get canceled.
Canceled.
It smells spicy.
Hey, that little corner thing. Who is that little guy in the corner there? He really. What is that? That little. You can barely see it.
There's
Who is that?
Oh, this guy right here? Me?
No, the other guy in the corner over here.
We forgot to invite him in.
Yes, we didn't forget.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
We
See, is that 2 weeks in a row I've done that now?
Yeah. Are you trying to?
I'm
tell
so
us
sorry.
something?
Let's welcome in our fantastic producer, Justin. Oh, you deserve that. You earned a round of applause.
Oh yeah, we're here. Crowd goes wild.
We are good to.
He's got shiny lights in him and everything. Look at that. You can barely-
How you doing, Justin?
I'm doing well. How about y'all?
Hanging in there.
We're doing just fine.
It's a lot cooler inside than it is outside. It's
wet out.
It is wet and sweat and going like a
Yeah.
turbo jet,
And we had
baby.
a storm roll through.
Yeah,
That
we had
was
the
crazy.
driving in. I was like, is that the tornado sirens?
It
That-
was.
Yeah,
It was definitely tornado
Or
sirens.
we were getting attacked. We weren't quite.
One, yeah,
yeah,
it could have
one
been.
is-
I mean, it didn't sound like air raid, but it's. I was like, you can't really be too sure today.
It is
close second.
Minneapolis.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially in Minneapolis.
At least we
you
know
never
the National Guard won't get called in. So
That's true. That's true. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, Spirit of Mystery is a Tennessee whiskey.
Tennessee. It's funny. It smells like a rye that.
That went wrong.
Yeah, it smells like a rye gone wrong. It's got that sort of spicy aroma, but it's also funky, like mushrooms and.
It's not good that you have your other glass.
And sweat socks.
It's going to be better than what you might.
No, I've already had a couple sips from the other glass. It's Woodford Reserve. It's
I know,
just classic and.
It's
Can't
probably
beat
a
it.
Yeah.
step down from the other glass. Is what I'm trying to say. Have a sip.
Oh, a step down. All right, I'm gonna take a sip of this here.
it's a lot of.
By the way, we
context.
have another cameraman here. He's off screen right now. I heard he's a competition shooter, badass kind of guy.
We may have Dustin come around and say hello at one point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you want stories about Minneapolis, this is your guy.
He lives off lake.
A lot of that we'll probably talk about off the air, but we'll.
Absolutely.
All right, so that whiskey is it's spicy like a rye,
Yeah.
but that flavor it's like funky, like mushrooms and sweat socks.
That's why I said don't.
But
I didn't
there's
want
no
you to-
finish to it.
I
It's
didn't
like
want you to drink that other one first.
it's
but-
like as soon as the drink goes down, it's like there's no finish. There's no lingering flavors or anything. So it's kind of watery, but I don't know. It's not bad. It's something I'd mix in a cocktail, but it's not something I would necessarily want to drink neat. But I'll keep giving it a little test here and there, and we'll try to reveal what that is. Maybe I'll guess it right this time.
Yeah, and also the Postania guys. Oh, it's us! Look at us! It's our kiss
Look at
cam.
us. Look at
Kiss cam.
Those guys are great. Mike and Greg,
Oh, yes.
just built a relationship with Mike and those guys a couple of years ago, and finally, it's one of those relationships where you meet him in person for the first time, and you're just like, you feel like long lost friends. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that is honestly one of the best parts about the cigar business is, whether it's seeing somebody on a podcast or seeing somebody promote their stuff on social media, but you've never actually met them, and then eventually you go to whether it's PCA or some other big multi-vendor event, maybe Cigars and Baseball, maybe Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival, something like that. And you finally get to meet those people for the first time. And it is, I think we've all experienced that same thing. It's like you meet them for the first time, but it's literally like your old friends.
Yeah. And they never look like how you think they look. Like if you've never seen them before.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know. For me, most people, I feel like it's like, that's you look just
maybe it's for us because we're cold calling cigar shops all the time.
Well, yeah.
I expected Mike to be like a middle-aged, like balding, like I don't know, like doing this for fun. You meet the dude, he's freaking jacked and trendy looking, and then he is somebody that I would not want to upset. No,
in any way, shape, or form.
Wouldn't want to steal a pierogi from. Absolutely
not.
His last name is an absolute travesty.
I can't. I've tried 1,000 times.
Shevenkevich,
Fetch and catch.
Yeah,
he's told me that at this point the closest I've gotten is like 98%, but I've never gotten like 100.
That's what she said.
Oh, well played.
Love it.
I am more worried about Palmer than I am
Palmer
about fetch and catch.
Oh, but no, Palmer just wants to troll. Palmer wants to get under your skin.
I think he's a guy
troll.
that has basement all covered with plastic, and he could be a serial killer.
Well, you got to keep things covered up in case it gets messy.
Absolutely.
You don't want to have to get out the what is it, the rug doctor and clean stains out of your furniture.
Yeah, that's just
you don't have to do.
You'll
that.
see Mike coming. You'll see Mike catch and fetch. He's coming.
I'm gonna tell him that you're pronouncing his name.
Oh, he knows. He'll bust my balls for it. Don't worry about it.
All right. So since we've already dove in
about what
the main segment of the show.
What are we doing?
But the main segment of the show is brought to us by a very wonderful sponsor that we want to talk about right now, and that sponsor is Drew Estate. And for the first time ever, Drew Estate has given fans a sneak peek of the brand behind a Freestyle Live event pack, Deadwood Cigars. But consumers get to guess which of the Deadwood girls is making her debut. Each FSL pack is priced at $40 and includes 3 mystery premium cigars, a Freestyle Live torch lighter, cigar cutter, and ashtray. And of course, each pack comes with a QR code for entry into a sweepstakes featuring a grand prize of a Harley-Davidson Fat Boy 11. Second prize is a custom $4,500 humidor, and 10 lucky winners will snag a custom ashtray from Subculture Studios. For more information, please visit drewestate.com.
I gotta get that ashtray. I might buy that pack just for that ashtray.
Yeah,
I'm an ashtray whore. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They got some good stuff.
I got my Old Faithful wood ashtray that sits right there. It's just that's my Old Faithful at home. I miss it actually when I'm away. When I'm at a shop or a place like this, a private club like this, I miss my Old Faithful ashtray. I really do.
I think we're onto something. You get like a travel ashtray, Matt, that you take with you everywhere you go.
I had a
We
travel
do.
ashtray.
We do have one.
Yeah, we do have one. I forgot.
Apostate.
But I don't want to dirty it up. I'm probably going to use it for like
Apostate
keys
gave us
and
one of them.
coins.
So
and
I
shit like
had
that.
just one of the single ashtrays. That
I
used to
stole it.
Yeah, and I go over to smoke a cigar at his house once. He's like, "Oh, you need an ashtray?" And he hands me my ashtray. The freaking nerve
Hey,
of
what
this
are friends
guy.
for?
You can't.
Well, let's
trust
do the official introduction with all the vast applause from this massive crowd.
it. Yeah. Who's
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please welcome to episode 258 of How About That Cigar Live, Founders Cigar Company. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
Who's Silent Bob over there? You got a microphone, right?
Silent Joe.
Silent Joe.
Silent Joe.
Joe, it's clipped to your shirt. There
You can speak into it.
Talk like this, like you're talking.
Say
to your
hello.
Silent Joe.
Sorry, guys.
This is Joe Hader. He's been on the founders team for 2 years.
Nice.
He works behind the scenes. He's a man of many hats.
Man
His
of
last
many
name is
hats.
Hater.
Spelled a little different.
Oh, okay. Not actual Hater like Haterade.
I think it's funny that you said man of many hats and Joe's not wearing a hat.
It's weird.
because
That
he wears
is-
them all during the day.
Oh, that's
And then
true.
he
Yeah,
takes them off when
he's
off
got to
the
take a
clock.
break from hats at night.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to give the hair some time to breathe.
absolutely.
You know, so it has been. I mean, we've interviewed you guys at trade shows a bunch over the last few years, but it's been a while since
Yeah.
you've been on like the big Monday night show. So for our viewers who are, you know, newer to How About That Cigar Live, just give us the quick Cliff Notes reminder for our viewers who are new to the show about the, you know, Founder's Cigar, how you guys got it started, and the story of your brand.
So you want the 2-minute or the 5-minute?
I'm gonna leave that up to you. I'd say split the difference.
Yeah. So Brian and I started Founders in October of 2021. We had been doing.
2020.
Do I get that wrong?
Yeah.
Every time. Every time. Even on the first time we were here. So we were doing consulting in the firearms industry and had kind of a knack for that. And we're like, hey, we're pretty good at this. And ran into a couple issues, you know, a lawsuit thrown around here and there, you know, and we got to the point where like, let's stop building companies
Yes.
for other people and let's build some for ourselves. So we looked at all the options, and a gun accessory company probably would have competed with all of our clients and future clients. So we wanted to stay away from that. But cigars were something that had a lot of crossover, and I had been behind the scenes researching cigar factories and all that. And
During COVID.
during COVID,
During
and
COVID.
brought that to Brian in the office one day because we'd been talking about starting a company. We're like, hey, what do you think about cigars? And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, I like cigars. I'm like, no. What do you think about starting a cigar company? And he was like, well, don't let it be a distraction and don't lose money. So
That's fair.
I'm still 0 for 2
Yep.
on both of those. But yeah, so we launched at a gun event with a client as like a marketing ploy.
Dustin was there.
It's weird. It's the same thing for How About That Cigar. Don't let it be a distraction and don't lose money.
Yeah.
And I'm 0 for 2. So
Should put that on a shirt.
yeah.
So, if you finish your story, I want to ask you a question after.
Okay. Well, yeah. So we launched at a marketing event, and that was, you know, there were major gun companies at that, but people kept talking about the cigar guys. And so Brian and I came back from that event, and people kept reaching us like, hey, where do we get these? Where do we, you know, and we had launched a website at that time, but we're like, you know, there might be something here that, you know, kind of that crossover in the space, you know, obviously the root of Founders with the founding fathers. And that's a couple of misconceptions. They're not all presidents. They're not all founding fathers. It's more so just paying respect to the people that helped build this country into the country we love today. And so after that, we took about a year to kind of really go into the foundations of the company. And then at Cigars and Baseball 2021 was kind of our like, hey, we're live. This is going.
Well, and we approached it as a business, right?
Yeah.
Versus,
A hobby?
well, I mean, your grandpa's not Cuban, is he?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
So we don't have any Cuban grandfathers. We're not 3rd, 4th, 5th generation from Cuba or the Dominican or Nicaragua. So
We didn't grow up in cigars.
Yeah.
how does two white boys from the Midwest start a cigar company?
Yeah. And
I feel like
we,
there's a story there.
yeah,
there
so
is
we approached it like a business problem, meaning, okay, our end goal, and that's what we always ask our clients, like, what's your goal? So our goal was, hey, we want to sell cigars at retail. So we need cigars.
Well, let's back up.
Okay.
It's more about it was the experience.
Oh, sorry. That was the backup beeper. Go ahead.
He lost his track.
Oh, damn. I'm so
It's about the
sorry.
experience
I'm
Experience
so sorry, Brian.
Yes.
of being two white boys smoking cigars, because two white boys have never smoked cigars before.
from the
It's true.
Midwest.
From the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So during COVID,
Yeah.
you were getting together with a group of guys
That's
on
true.
Tuesday nights,
Yep.
smoking cigars, and you
Yep.
realized how
how healthy my life was. I looked at some family members that were like incredibly isolated and just saw the mental health. And so seeing like, wow, I actually have a really healthy life right now
Yeah.
because I get together with people and tell them like all the shit that I'm going through and actually being real and not having just those bottled up, 2 weeks to stop the spread, so just seeing how that had done wonders in my life.
and we had 2 failed partnerships with other businesses where we had the rug pulled out from under us.
Yep.
And both one was in the firearms, the other one was a consumable product, not in the firearms. It was a coffee company.
Okay.
And we were looking for you came to me with this idea, this vision that you'd been like, basically we call it what, shower thoughts.
Yeah, everyone's got a shower thought.
And so
I have a
Not
lot of
cigars.
shower thoughts.
so he pitched me this idea in like August of 2020 of this idea of starting a brand based on building community because of the cigars, and our governor Tim Walz is telling us to stay home and don't spend time with families, and how healthy it is to get together and share
even though it's okay for him to do it. But I digress. Go ahead. Sorry.
Angela or Tim?
The governor.
Yeah. Oh, that's another story.
No, yeah. Sorry. I totally derailed you there. Sorry.
Stop distracting her.
Oh, sorry.
So that was the basis of starting Founder Cigar Company.
We basically look at it
community.
like we have a method to trick people into hanging out now.
Boom.
And it's
Cigar.
funny you mentioned COVID and hanging out with friends. I think that's how I got through it too. We had a bunch of guys come over to the house and smoke cigars. We actually hung out more then than we do now, because we're like, well, if we're going to get each other sick, it's okay. We'll just pass it around.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
just our family, 4 or 5 of us in that
Just
family.
smooching your buddies,
The place that we're in right now is a
We
social
love coaching
club
buddies.
that was started during COVID because the two guys that started the club, and the Hayden, but it had a different name back then. But they started this club because they were smoking cigars in their garage.
Yeah.
And the two guys are like I feel like there's a place that we should go outside of my garage, and so they bought this place downtown Minneapolis, which is fabulous.
Oh, it's beautiful.
By Loring Park. It has like this 1920s kind of aesthetics about it. It's an amazing place. But this place was started because of looking for a place for a group of like-minded people to get together and smoke cigars and enjoy each other's company.
Well, I find myself super jealous right now because everybody's smoking and I'm not smoking yet. So I'm going to fire up the Founders Connecticut right now. And I'm going to do it on the Zikar Toast Cam. Zikar is the leading cigar accessory brand with innovative butane lighters, precision cigar cutting instruments, travel cases, and humidors. Each product is designed and manufactured with the utmost precision and attention to detail. The result is a range of products that exude quality and refinement, reflecting the brand's dedication to excellence. For more information, please visit Zikar.com. I'm so glad I finally get to fire up a cigar with you guys.
So I got another question for you guys.
Is it COVID related?
No, it's actually firearm related.
Ooh, dude, we could talk firearm.
Are you guys still dabbling in that accessory business,
We
or personally just still messing with it?
Hey, do you know? Does the ATF watch your show?
The ATF watches everything.
Yeah,
That is true.
You know this.
No, they don't.
So, because I just bought a 308 that I need some accessories.
Yeah, we can help.
It's the Saint.
You should actually talk to Dustin
Wait,
over here.
Allegedly, you bought a 308.
Yeah, no, it's in the lake.
It's I got
Yeah,
I went fishing with it and it fell in the lake.
Allegedly.
We're using 8-pound test on that thing.
Yeah, I was trying to catch a shark.
So there's a question I was going to save till later in the show, but I really want to ask it now. And this is it's sort of tongue in cheek. I'm not trying to make light of serious stuff, but because I know that you guys and there were a few other companies that, and whether they're cigar companies or people who make beer or wine or spirits or, coasters or whatever, so many small businesses, got going, and then it's like, oh shit, global pandemic. So knowing your history and your experience in cigars and military, would you rather be deployed to a hostile area, or would you rather once again be deployed to a hostile area somewhere in the world, or once again start a brand new cigar company during a global pandemic?
Well, I have no experience with the former.
Okay.
Me neither.
I've done both.
You've done both, Brian. So you're the expert on this particular question, Brian. And it's tongue in cheek. I mean, it's obviously you're not actually in harm's way, when you're starting a cigar company in the U.S. during a global pandemic. But
unless your wife hits you with a
unless your wife hits you with
for starting
That's
a company.
Or you could do both at the same time.
yeah.
No, the answer is pretty simple. Being deployed deployed. Is there a T?
Deployed?
Deployed.
Deployed?
De-
Is that a new one?
Deployed.
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 So being in the military. So I joined after high school, 2001. So it's been 23 years. I got out. So I've been in 18 years. So when you're in the military, you build, or you're, it's kind of engraved in you. You follow SOPs, and there's a lot of structure, and there's no unknowns, right? So it's easy. It's there's not a lot of mental decision making that goes into being so the answer is that it's easier to, in fact, that's why when you look at a lot of guys that have spent their entire career in the military, why it's easier to just deploy than it is to face like your marriage and parenting and all the things that are difficult on a day-to-day, going to a job or whatever it is. It's actually easier to just, pull the ripcord and go to be deployed. Starting a company, and we've done this how many times?
Too many.
There's every single day you're solving problems. That's all you're doing.
Oh yeah.
There's 100 different problems that need to be all unknown. And what do you say? It's all a hypothesis, right?
Yeah.
You have a theory of how this could be solved, right? And then it's a bunch of failures after failures after failures until like, oh, that kind of worked. Let's do a little bit more of that, and let's start pivoting in that direction, right?
Right. They are the almost exact opposites.
Yeah. So when I'm been in the military, I just show up and I
do what you're told.
Do what I'm told. I'm not a soldier. I've been in the Air Force, but I'm a cop in the Air Force, but we don't do law enforcement, so it's kind of weird. But
CSI.
We're like the infantry for the Air Force.
Okay.
It's you just do your job.
Yeah.
Very straightforward. There's not a lot of decision making. So,
yeah.
I think being deployed would be so much easier than starting a company.
Well, and it's really structured too, right? So in the business world, and like you said, you guys have done it multiple times beyond just Founders Cigar Company, but even with just Founders, there's so many curveballs that come along. There have to be, whether it's something with the distributor, something with the factory, something with a retailer, whatever it may be. There's got to be. Is it like daily curveballs, weekly curveballs? Has it kind of balanced out a little bit over the last couple of years as you guys have? No,
not at all.
Okay,
not at all. It's one of those things, and we work pretty closely with a couple other brands, and which has been nice. That is, I remember on the first time we were on your guys' show, you asked like, hey, when you were talking to your mentors in the cigar industry about starting a brand and the advice you were getting, how did those go? And we went, yeah, we didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
So what's been cool is, I see Brandon from Apostates in here. Like, I love that guy to death.
It's my guy.
Hey, Brandon.
That's my guy.
You, brother. No, this ain't Matt's garage. Sorry, brother.
No, but meeting other younger brands.
Yeah.
And then other people like Mike and Greg where, they do a store, they have a brand, they do fulfillment, being able to talk to other companies that do other things in the cigar industry has been really, important for us. And it's not like, hey, let's go find someone to copy, but it's like, man, someone's done this before.
Yeah.
Someone's got to have a blueprint that we can start from and at least make it our own. Or I still have to call Brandon back about talking about events, because we're starting to do a lot more events. Brandon, I gotta call you after this, but so there's
awkward.
There's so many things that we try to get as much of that free knowledge as we can, because it's like, yeah, falling on your face helps to learn, but it gets painful after a while.
I was just thinking about that podcast you sent me, Alex. No, what's his name?
Hormozy,
where he's saying every stage of a business or being an entrepreneur is stressful, right? Growth is stressful. The decline is stressful. Like, being in the red is stressful. Like, there isn't a part of being a business owner or being an entrepreneur that's not stressful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's just,
It's as you grow, it's the type of problems that you're solving change from season to season and at different growth levels, but it is all stressful. I can't talk tonight.
Yeah. You said all parts of it. Growth is stressful, declining is stressful, and stagnating is stressful.
Oh.
So all of it has that all built in.
And I was
So-
gone all of last year. I was deployed last year, and
Yeah.
Angelo pretty much carried the company for the entire. What
I almost
was gone
forgot who you were.
Yeah, I'm gonna try not to knock this mic. Hey,
My name is Julio.
Hello.
Bro Julio.
Yes.
They call me.
Yes. So I'm the other half of the business here that I was pretty much
Right.
So
checked out.
Well, then
so
there's-
after all that, after you coming back from deployment, what made you guys want to start another business together?
We actually launched it before I deployed. We talking about the
Oh, it was
fulfillment.
Yeah, the
before you
fulfillment
deployed. Okay.
company.
That's true. So one of the things that we learned, we had a couple brokers to our office, and again, we don't come from the cigar industry, so we just knew like, hey, what can we control? Well, we can't control your palate. We can't control like your awareness of our brand. We can try, but Google and Facebook and Instagram, everyone suppresses that. So what can we control? Like,
Consistency.
we can control ops. We can control deliveries. We can control communication. We can control expectation. And so we just set up a warehouse where we had our boxes and our tape and our computer, like our shipping computer and our printing computer and all these different things. And these brokers looked around. They're like, "How long you guys been in business?" We're like, "I don't know, a year." They're like, "This is incredible.
Yeah.
Like this setup and the way that you guys do things." And which was interesting. About a year later, I was talking to a broker up in the Pacific Northwest. And he's like, "Yeah, whenever I consider bringing on a brand, I have them send samples to 5 stores that I know really well. And the first thing I judge them on is how did they get there? How do they communicate? And was that process smooth? Because if that process wasn't smooth, the rest of it's not going to be
Yeah.
smooth." So we took that and we started seeing that, hey, ops seems to be not a weakness of the cigar industry, but it's definitely one of those things that can be improved on. And if you have a consistent operation where you're getting people product on time, where you can set clear expectations when this release is going to launch and when you're going to get it.
I still don't understand why, like, when brands will release a new blend, it'd be like 6 months before a shop will see it. Like, I don't understand the logic behind that.
Or at the trade show, it'll be, when's this going to come out?
Yeah, I don't know.
Q4,
Yeah.
Q1,
And we're
Mhm.
summer next year.
We're in Q2.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
we ran into this. I mean, our boxes that we ordered for PCA 23 showed up for PCA 24. So that was great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was a fun learning experience. But so anyway, so because of that, we took that operational foundation and we started applying it and offering it as a service to other brands. So we launched Founders Fulfillment, which now we're doing out of our office. We built a humidor. We've got that really nice. Joe is the guy that basically manages our entire warehouse and puts up with all of our last minute shipping shenanigans. But yeah, so that's something that we've scaled and we've got long-term plans for. But even then, we've run into seemingly a very straightforward path to offer this as a service to people. We're still a young brand. We're still an unknown, and so we have even run into issues there scaling that as well. So it's there is no I heard someone say how to make $1 million in the wine industry. Well, you start with 2 million.
Yeah.
So it's always the same thing as cigars. It's like and we had a guy really early on tell us like, yeah, the best way to build your brand and to get brand recognition is you have to have brand recognition. It's like you have to have it for it to grow and for it to build. So there's uphill battles every part of the company.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
How did your military experience and experience of you guys having other companies help you start Founders and help you start the fulfillment business?
Brian's organization.
Yeah, I don't know. We complement each other. Angelo's definitely the visionary. He's got a lot of really good ideas, and I'm a sounding board for most of those ideas. And I think we're just accustomed to failure. We try things, we refine things, we tune things. Neither one of us are, I think, content with like there's always a way to improve something. So we're constantly trying to improve it. Efficiencies. We want to be effective. There's always this like great is the evil of good, or how do you say that? What's the Jim Collins thing, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, so we're both come from a solving problems, right? I mean, that's and when when you do it for a living, so you provide consulting services and we solve other people's problems, and then you start a business and then it's become their own problems, then yeah.
And then you realize that you guys are our own worst clients because we never listen to our own advice.
Right.
And we never do the things that we know that we need to do.
Yeah, there's so many holes in the office walls because of Joe gets so mad at us because he's like, what do you want me to do?
I try to keep them in check every once in a while.
Oh, you should see all the hater messages I got from Joe while I was gone last year on Angela.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just trying to keep my head 10 feet underwater that entire year. But
yeah, but those 2 beers are still in the fridge.
they are.
yeah.
They are. There's a. I worked in a research lab in college, and we always had 2 beers in the fridge. And so if you ever really needed to like bitch or vent, or you'd grab the 2 beers, you'd go to someone, you'd give them the other beer, so you guys would share a beer moment together while you just got everything out.
Right.
And then if you were if you were the one that caused the 2 beer moment, you had to replace the beers in the fridge. So so that 2 beer moment. But,
the best thing that you ever did to me was when I was I got on my pedestal and I was just venting, and he just turns away from me, hops on his computer, and he pulls up like Menards.com, and he turns his monitor to me and he goes, they're hiring.
I was like, I can print you off an application right now. You know. But one of the things that Brian said too that we really try to keep in mind too is this progress, not perfection thing, where the only time you're really failing as a company is when you stop, and when you stop moving forward and you stop iterating. We oftentimes will look at all these different options, and I think where we really balance each other out is Brian's really detailed, and so whenever something presents itself, you know, it's easy for Brian to jump to all the like really good ways to do it, and then I have to kind of pull us back sometimes and go like, okay, what's effective to solve this? And then as it scales and as we find out that's the best way for us to go, how can we then iterate upon that? You know, because we have really long-term goals for the fulfillment company that solve a lot of the problems that people come to us with. We just can't do that right now. Like a national sales force, that's what we want to offer. You know, we really want to get involved with the import, you know, but those are things that are very complicated, and just the capacity of the 2 of us and the 3 of us, and we have a 4th partner who's a banker. You know, what can we do that's effective now that we can just get in place to solve the problem? Because 1 is better than 0.
Yeah.
And then take the time to refine that as we go.
Well, of all the pieces along the way, you know, being a few years into it now, and specifically, you know, founders as a business, and maybe even the fulfillment part of it, but everybody encounters things when they start a new business that surprise them. It could be something that they're like, oh, this was actually simpler than I thought it was going to be, although I know that's insanely rare. Or things it's like, I had no idea that this was going to be so much red tape and bureaucratic nonsense and so on and so forth. Can you articulate for each of you what has been the biggest surprise that you were like, I didn't realize this was going to be, this one particular part of the business was going to be either this insanely difficult or this insanely easy?
The first thing that comes to mind is just the asinine tax structure of Minnesota.
Not just Minnesota. You're talking about every single state.
One of the big differences in the firearms industry is you can set MSRP, you can set MAP, which is the minimum advertised price, and then you can make all of your discounts based off that. So it's like it's expected in the firearms industry that manufacturers will sell direct to consumer, but it's always at MSRP. Right. And then the store can usually sell 5 to 10% cheaper, so there's no price discrepancies. And then a wholesaler or a brick and mortar might buy it at 25% discount, someone else 30, 35, 40. You know, there's price breaks built in everywhere.
Yeah.
In the cigar industry, it's Keystone.
Yeah.
Everyone just expects Keystone regardless of volume.
And what's Keystone?
Keystone is a 50% discount off of your list price.
And everyone plays Keystone. If you're, you know, Bob and Joe's Cigar Lounge, or your Cigars International, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy that there's not tiered pricing based on volume. And I mean, I'm sure there is, but we're not, you know, running up against that very often.
Yeah.
I've heard some over the last few years in more product categories than just premium cigars that there's been sort of inching towards more and more of Keystone plus 5%. Do people scoff at Keystone plus 5%?
I'd never heard of Keystone until I got in the cigar industry, and I've
Yeah.
been in a handful of different industries.
Okay.
You know,
It's like the industry standard for cigars.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I had to be educated on that. That
Yeah.
was something that was new to us. And
Yeah.
it's just kind
Well,
of baffled me. I mean, it was like, well, where's their volume discounts for, your wholesalers and your distributors?
Right.
Yeah,
Or your shop that, is moving pallets of cigars versus boxes.
Yeah. And then the thing that comes into that too is you have different taxes from different states.
state,
So we suggest a $10 MSRP, but that only happens in a couple states where California and not Texas. Texas is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New
New
York and all those. It is insane the amount that you have to sell. those cigars.
Colorado's just went up again.
Yep.
And we're not even talking about Canada, how bad they
forget
are.
about
Oh, man.
Yeah, Canada.
And the packaging requirements in Canada, where it has to be in plain boxes, and the bands have to do. And what's nice about our factory is our factory exports everywhere. And so when we do have those Canadian retailers reach out to us, or we've had a lot of conversations with Dubai and some of those countries over there.
Israel.
Yeah, our factory has shipped to all those different countries. So they're like, oh yeah, we know how to do this. So
Yeah.
we'll just ship it straight from the factory. That way you can do this with your pricing, and your cost base is a little lower because you don't have to ship it into the United States. But it's every single state is just a learning. It's a full-time job
Nice.
for every
Yeah.
state.
It's unbelievable how it's just, to me, Canada's a whole nother country. So they're going to do what they're going to do. But when you look at the difference between California and Pennsylvania, super low tax in Pennsylvania for cigars, or Florida or
Yeah.
Texas
Yep.
or New Hampshire, there's only a handful of states left that have really, really ultra low or zero tax on
Yeah.
premium cigars.
And one of the issues with the fulfillment company is that Minnesota, I think like most states, they make you pay the tax when you receive them.
Yeah.
And so what's been hard for us for young brands, where it's like, hey, we can provide, hey, we'll take over ops for you. We'll take over fulfillment so that you can just be the sales force. Because we don't offer sales. I mean, yeah, we have all these shops that we're talking to, and we can work them into that. But it's tough to talk to a young brand and say, oh, hey, you're going to send me 10,000 cigars. Great. Staple an escrow check for $5,000 to that, so that I can just pay the state of Minnesota right away. And so actually with Jim Nash and with some of the legislation, we're trying to get that changed, because in spirits and in wine
In Minnesota.
yeah, they have more of a warehousing law where once it comes in, the distributors don't have to pay tax on it until it leaves their facility.
Yeah.
So that doesn't exist in the tobacco world, but there's precedence for it. So
By the way, we need to make sure everybody votes for Jim Nash. We need to make sure he gets back in.
Yes.
absolutely.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. I mean, cut you off.
I don't know.
Squirrel.
Well, let's kind of
Hold on. I was going
along.
to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Nope, lost it. Sorry.
Lost it. All right. So in the same kind of discussion of changes, because every company goes through changes. So
I need to cut you off real quick.
I
Sorry, boss.
please continue.
But aren't we giving away something tonight?
That's right.
We're giving away something. I'm sorry. We should have made sure these guys knew that.
Justin,
a little
I
earlier.
threw that picture in the at the bottom of the list of
He hates when I call him boss, but he is the boss.
Hefe.
El jefe.
So how do we want to pick a winner? What should we have our viewers do while they're watching?
Yeah.
How do we want to pick a winner?
Ooh, there it is.
We'll
Look at that beautiful box.
okay, so here I have an idea. At the end of the show, we'll ask a question about something that these guys said during the show, and whoever gives the first correct answer
Wins the box.
I like it.
And by the way, tell them what's going to be on that box.
Yeah, so-
that's just going to be a plain old box like that. I mean, not that that's plain old, but you know what I mean.
Something that we've done, and we've refined this process over the years, is we have the ability to do some custom gift boxes with cigars. So we package a nice cutter and lighter. This is what we call an essential box, and it's retails at $75. And there's what you're looking at is a box with an acrylic lid, and so it's sealed and keeps the cigars with a Boveda pack, so it's humidified. And typically you can find this on our website, but it would have our logo on it. But we have an in-house laser that we can laser pretty much anyone's image, brand, charity organization. Yeah, I mean, we could put Angel has a big feet or whatever it is that we want to put on this. But we're gonna, for this box, we'll put the How About That Cigar episode, what, 258?
258.
So we'll pay homage to this episode of How About That Cigar. So it's something, it'd be collectible. You put it up on you might want to pass it down. Make sure you put it in your will.
That's true.
Yes,
absolutely.
But it comes with all 5 of our cigars, which we have 5 here, 6x50 Toros. We have a Candela, Connecticut, our signature barber pole dual wrap, and then a Habano and a Maduro. And this is our sample pack that we send out with a torch lighter and a guillotine cutter.
And that is another part of our company that we spun up, where we had offered a gift pack for the holidays once, and it was a lot bigger than this. Actually, we gave away another one on your show.
Yeah, 2 years ago we gave the executive box, which is 16 cigars. It comes with a Zippo with the butane insert, and then a really nice V-cut punch combo cutter, and then it has a veneer, and we laser the veneer, and it looks really nice. What does that retail for? $300. So this is kind of a more condensed, more affordable version. But yeah, it's a really nice box set.
Yeah, we started bringing that to different events, and we had so many different charities, organizations, sales teams. Hey, I want to gift these out to people, but the price point was a little higher, and so we're like, I don't know, do we just discount this for different people? That's kind of, I mean, there's not a lot of margin because the box is really expensive. But then we spun up some other options with the Essentials box, and we've done some other custom lids and boxes and stuff for John Daly, the golfer, University of Minnesota, Pittsburgh Penguins. So we've done them for a lot of different big organizations, and so that's been a very popular part of what we do too. And that's the thing in cigars, where it's like, building a brand with something that is really a commodity. I mean, there's not, unless you are like an Aganorsa, where that your leaf is the story behind your cigars, or you're vertically integrated top to bottom, and you've been around for 80 years and you have that name behind you. I mean, what can we do that's different that we can still offer to our shops? So some of our shops will put their logos on them. They'll sell them as sample packs. They'll bring them in for Father's Day and the holidays and all that. We do them a lot for charities. Justin, I don't know why Wes didn't mention it for the Guns and Hoses event, but we do those all the time for different charities when we do the silent auction and the giveaways and all that. So we
donated the lighter over here. This was in the gift bag, so every golfer at the Guns and Hoses event actually got a lighter. So nice. We did that. That was cool.
I think your drink's empty. You should probably fill that up.
Thanks.
I'm laughing at Brandon's comment. I don't know. Kendrick's a handsome dude.
Hey, so why is there so much tension between firefighters and police officers?
That's a great question.
Ooh,
why do you guys love each other?
Well, hold on, Joe. We all know what Raul does.
Yeah, we gotta intro Joe a little bit too, and not to, we kind of skated past the introduction, but yeah, Joe, retired police officer here in the Minneapolis suburbs. Also, you had
it's a tough suburb.
Yes.
National Guard or Coast Guard?
I don't blame you for retiring.
Coast Guard.
Is that a military branch?
Whoa! Wow!
Sort of like Space Force.
Yeah, it's kind of like Space Force. But yeah, so Joe,
they exist.
Joe retired, and we scooped him up out of retirement to come. We said, hey, we need a guy.
He was a customer, and then he joined the team.
Yeah, we need a guy who can sit on golf courses. And
I
drink
became
beer
Brian for a little while.
Yeah, and do the events for us and manage the warehouse and all that. So we really suckered him into it because he didn't read the back page, the flip page of his contract before signing it. So we really suckered him into that one. But yeah, Joe's been a pivotal part of the team in these last couple of years, especially when Brian was gone, putting up with all my shenanigans and last minute stuff that he had to pull me out of.
I actually heard his wife got him the job.
Yeah. Well, his wife and my wife, they talked. How long were you a police officer?
17 years.
17 years.
Get some time on, kid.
It's long enough.
Yeah.
So what is the
now? Honestly, with Minneapolis Fire and Minneapolis PD, we get along great. Where it really stems from is 9/11.
Okay.
When NYPD told FDNY that they couldn't go in and still search for their brothers.
Huh.
That's when the rift started. And since they're such a big commodity, if you want to call it, or a big enterprise, both those departments, it grew from there.
Well, and you were born and raised in New York.
Yep.
You didn't serve there, but you were born and raised there, and so you got to see a lot of not necessarily the big time tensions, but because you started serving in Minneapolis in what year?
99.
99. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's where it really came from.
Gosh,
Plus all the hockey teams. Every fire department or a police department has a hockey team.
Yep.
And usually that's another bad blood right there.
Yeah.
But besides that, us and Minneapolis PD, we get along great. We got this little red button on top of our radios. When we press it, they come and they don't come talking. So we love our PD. That's just all bullshit.
I think a lot of it's like the military branches too.
Mhm.
Right? They all give each other crap for whatever.
Yep.
Space Force, Coast Guard, Army, Navy, Marines. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just in a state level. And
It's about the brotherhood. I mean, you
Yep.
think about all your buddies, right? The ones that you really, really consider like that will, you die for.
Mhm.
How much crap do you give them?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right?
You only hurt the ones you love.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's it's a sibling kind of
Yeah.
brotherhood.
exactly.
Yeah.
My
Exactly
brother
right.
served in the Marine Corps for a long time, and he said that it's serious. The whole thing joking about other branches or whatever. He's like, it's serious, but it's not really serious. But it actually is serious, but it's not really serious. But we really fucking hate those other guys, but we really love them, and kind of back and forth. He's like, but he's like, at the end of the day, we all know we gotta, if something really terrible goes down, it's like we all gotta get in the same car, or move in the same direction,
when
with
we
the
all
same
do come
goal.
together. I mean, look at Burnsville recently.
Yeah.
Police fire, they all came together.
Yeah.
It's a brotherhood. No matter what you're doing, public service, we're all
And
working toward the same cause.
When the bullets are flying,
Mm.
nobody cares what
Nobody
No.
cares.
if
Yeah.
it says U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force, Marine Corps,
Yeah.
Navy, whatever on your uniform. 100%.
When
Same
when the enemy's shooting at you, nobody. They're all because the enemy's shooting at all of you.
Yeah.
Right. That's been one of the most enjoyable parts of trade shows.
Mm.
If you guys have seen our booth the last couple of years, where half of it is for business, but the other half is just a lounge.
Yeah.
And I remember, it was 2 years ago, there was a guy who he flew with the guys who filmed the Top Gun movies. And so he was telling all these stories. And we had like a EOD, and we had the Navy guys, and Brian in the Air Force. It's like we just had all the different guys just sitting around, just sharing stories, smoking cigars. And I'm standing here going like, I've absorbed a lot of it just by proximity, but I'm definitely an outsider looking in. But just seeing that, I was like, this is exactly why we started this company. Just like people, unplugging from daily life for a little bit, just to build community and support each other. It's like, so that's been most. And at this PCA, so Brian deployed all of last year, and two of the guys he deployed with were in Vegas, and talk about that.
Nice.
So we were in the BCA pavilion this year, so we didn't have our own booth, and so we're with a bunch of the other BCA companies, and we were near Cigars for Warriors, and so one of the dudes that I was deployed with, and I won't say names, but he's a Nevada trooper that covers Las Vegas proper. And so I texted him. I was like, we're going to be at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And so he was on duty that day. So then he came by. And then my other buddy, I got him a vendor badge. So he was able to come into the show. And then so the three of us we haven't seen each other since we got back from our deployment. And we're just kind of just hanging out. And the Cigars for Warriors booth was around the corner. And so we walked over and we just said hi to the Cigars for Warriors Storm and the team. And we're sitting there telling the story with that guy. And he started crying because he was like, this is exactly like why I started the organization like 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Is here's a couple guys that are overseas in a combat zone, and we're trying to get cigars to them, and that is our mission. And here they are back home. We haven't seen each other in 6-8 months or whatever, and we just happened to be in Vegas for a cigar show. Here we are smoking a cigar, and we're telling them about all the cigars that the Cigars Warrior guys sent us. And I did text or call or email Storm, because I know you guys want to have him on the show.
I do.
So if Storm's watching, I don't know, he needs to watch this, but dude, it's it was just one of those moments where everyone's like, and when an old guy with a really long beard and arms full tattoos and he looks like a warrior is crying, you're like, how do I not cry in front of this guy? So that was a moment for sure.
Yeah,
cool.
Well,
so Matt, you had a question a while ago. You want to go back to that?
We were kind of on the, in the business discussion, and
all over the place.
I was kind of going in, and that's great. I love that.
That's usually how we roll.
But we were, kind of on the subject of, things changing, and every business goes through changes, because sometimes you have to, because you got to roll with punches. You got to make changes because of who knows what. But one of the things that you guys went through, well, I'm not going to say went through. One of the choices that you guys made as a company was to make a factory change. And there's so many moving parts I cannot even imagine. Yeah. I can barely scratch the surface in my brain of imagining what it's like to go through a factory change. So take us through kind of the when, the why, and how it's been going since the factory change.
Well, you're going to tell the story, right? So talk about the, you opened up the yellow pages and you went through cigar factories.
Esteli.
Yep. Yeah. So that was, we were familiar with the concept of more of like the white label program, or finding manufacturers that, bottle or brew or do stuff for other people. So,
or make guns for other
contracts.
Exactly. So contract manufacturing. And so we were very familiar with that concept. And so I was like, I imagine I can find people in the cigar industry that do this. And so I opened up the Googler and just went through, I think it was
the Googler. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that from now on, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So ask Jeeves, all the cigar, companies out there that would roll for us. And I reached out to about 12 plus different factories, representatives, middlemen, all that. And only like 2 of them got back to me. And I've even seen people on your show where I was like, I reached out to that guy, and where I'm sitting now, I'm like, oh, complete makes sense. Where they probably get emails from assholes like me all the time. They're like, oh, I own a insurance company and I want to do cigars with my name on them, and I'm going to buy a lot of cigars. Here's an order for 200 of them.
Could you build me a custom cigar brand from the ground up for $1,000, please?
And then can you also sell my cigars in your stores that you sell your cigars to as well?
Exactly.
It's like, get out of here. So, reached out to probably like a dozen different factories and got a hold of a guy who he wasn't the factory, but he was the middleman between the factories. So he sent me a bunch of samples. And this was actually even before I asked Brian about, what he thinks of cigars. Oh. No, this was in 2020, because I knew if I brought an idea to Brian, he'd ask all the important questions that I knew that he was going to ask. I'm like, I actually have to have, a factory. I have to have somewhat of an idea of blends, a brand, an idea like how this is going to come to fruition. And so I had this guy sending me samples and different options that we could go with, and they were very limited. And so again, kind of how we started, like, what can we do to be, solve a problem? And as we were just getting into the cigar industry, because we had no previous history in the cigar industry, it was very limited as it related to resources. Fast forward 4 years now, every single show we go to, we have a factory from Nicaragua coming up to us. Hey, if you need anything from Nicaragua, we'd love to work with you. Hey, if you need anything, any tobacco from Honduras, or all these different, reach out to us now.
And you're like, where were you?
Where were you? But we didn't know that. I mean, and they wouldn't have given us the time of day. No. And we're at what, year 4?
Yeah.
What did Brandon from Don Doroteo said? He said year 6 is kind of that pivotal.
Yeah, if you can make it to year 6, you're going to stick around.
Yeah,
because it's like right in this time is where a lot of companies kind of fold up, and the realities of the entire landscape hit them. But yeah, so we started down that path, and we launched with a factory, and we had some branding, and we went to market with that. I mean, we went to market 2021. 2022 was actually a really good year for us. And then we were getting a lot of feedback from our shops and some of the early supporters where it's like, hey, if you really want to, if this is something you're really serious about, you want to take this to the next level, it's not a requirement, but man, having a reputable factory where I've never heard of your brand, but I've heard of your factory, that goes such a long way, because we know, hey, if that factory has a really well-known brand, we know their quality, we know their tobacco, we know that they're not going to switch something out on you. We know that we can count on your factory more than we can count on your brand.
Yeah, top 5 questions that a shop will ask you is where your cigars coming from.
Exactly. Yeah. And so just having that perspective kind of going into 2023, and then we knew that Brian was going to be deploying. We knew roughly how long he was going to be gone for, and it could be anywhere from February to April, and we really looked at it. We're like, well, that year is going to be a crapshoot anyway. Do we double down? Do we keep going with what we're doing right now, or do we make this change where we change factories, we change bands, we introduce new boxes, we look at the line, kind of all these hypotheses that we came out with. We had 3 Vitolas of everything that we launched with, and we looked at the data. It's like 88% of our sales are Toro. And most of our Churchills were sold at events that people would smoke 1 inch of and set down because they're not cigar people. So, do we really need to come to market with 15 SKUs, right? 15 different boxes that we have to inventory and 15 different things that we have to manage, or do we start with what is selling, what's the most, and do the blends work in the size, and we go to market with that and really put our best foot forward to then build off of. And so we said, hey, Brian's going to be gone. This is probably going to be tough. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and just jump right in with 2 feet. So, yeah.
So what do you want? So we're working with, just tell them who the factory we're working.
Yeah. So Tabacalera Las Lavas is the factory that owns Casa Cuevas.
Yeah.
So Louis and Alec and Louis Sr., if you've met them,
they are fantastic people,
the absolute salt of the earth people. Yeah. And I'll tell a story. So we were at TPE this year, and one of the guys that we're always next to at TPE, he owns a factory. He lives in Vegas, and he's got a big brand, big factory, very well known. And he came out to us like, man, why don't I roll for you? Why don't you, next time you're in Dominican, why don't you come by the factory? We'll look at your blend, see what we can do for you. And I'm like, hey man, Louis is rolling for us. And his literal response was, he just went,
yeah.
He's like, yeah, no, you're in great hands. You're in great hands. That working with those guys has just been fantastic. I mean, and what was cool about them, and the reason that we started on that path with them, is the first TPE that we ever walked. So this would have been 2021.
Yep.
We walked the show in 2021, and we got introduced by Cigar Show Tim, and he interviewed us, and then he's like, hey man, if you want to meet anyone, like, I'll do whatever I can to introduce you. And we said, well, is there anyone we should know? Like, just try to ask him, like, is there anyone we should know? Is there any people that we should be talking to? And he's like, yeah, actually, let's go meet Louis. And so day one of the show, the busiest day of the show, Louis took an hour of the show time and let his guys handle it, let Alec handle it, and opened the playbook to us. Hey, this is where we failed at. This is what worked well for us. This is what we think about brokers and marketing and social media and all this. And just from the start, like brand to brand, he really took us under his wing. And then just, we had maintained that relationship for the next couple years. And then when we were thinking about making the change, I kind of sheepishly at a trade show, I'm like, hey, Louis, I don't want to bother you, but would you ever consider rolling for us? And he's just, brother, Louis,
what took you so long?
Yeah. We have been a factory longer than we've been a brand. I would love to roll for you.
Yeah.
And so that was awesome. So I flew down there January of 20
last year.
Yeah.
Not this year.
23. Yeah, January of 23.
And you met with their team and the master blenders, and
Louis Sr. was there, and came down with us, which was awesome. And just so, I mean,
you had an idea of what sort of we were targeting for the flavor profiles or what we wanted to hit with a Connecticut and Habano.
Yeah,
and
so that was cool because, you know, sent them all the samples, sent them, you know, the tobacco that we were using, and they said, hey, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to match these as best as we can with readily available tobacco. We were very clear about that too. We said, hey, do not let us blend with something that is not readily available, because we also learned that too. And it's the same in the gun industry.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you don't have an inventory of something, it's so tough to keep your momentum going. And so we
especially
knew that,
a production line versus like, you know, building a product line on scarcity.
Yeah. So we knew whatever we blended, we wanted it to be available all the time. We wanted to be able to get it. We wanted to be able to have several months of it in our humidor, several months of it at the factory. And so he blended our blends as written, and then he blended what he thought would be more of a better, more balanced version with the tobaccos that he had more readily on hand.
Okay.
And then that's where we started from.
Yeah.
And so and it's funny because I tell people like, yeah, I went down and blended at the factory for a week, and they're like, oh, you know, that must have been so fun. And, you know, boo-hoo, you know, smoking cigars for a week down at the factory. I was like, no, listen here, asshole.
Yeah, it's
my
10 hours a day smoking cigars.
Even Brian was like, hey, is this a place where we could bring the wives, you know, next year? And
nope.
I'm like, no, like, Brian,
they would hate it.
You've been in third world countries. I mean, we're in the industrial part of the Dominican.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't even tell you what color the sky was that entire week, because I sat in
your
the
hotel
same room. Oh yeah, it was
like,
and I would get to my hotel room, I would pass out for like 2 hours. They'd pick me up for dinner. We'd go and we'd smoke more blends that I'd rolled that day, and then we'd have this awesome, fantastic dinner and just laughing and telling stories and running into Carlito Fuente at a restaurant.
Yeah.
But I mean, legitimately, from 7:30 in the morning till 5 o'clock when that place shut down, we were blending, rolling. The master blender would bring things that he would roll and
trying individual tobaccos, all that stuff.
Individual tobaccos, and I was taking so many notes, and it was such a surreal experience. But it was awesome too, because Brian's been bugging me to write an article about this for like 3 weeks now. But some of the things that I'll remember is bringing back the blends. The most universal one that was like, yes, this is the blend that we need to go with out of all the samples I brought back was the Maduro. And that was the one. Yeah, that was the one where at the factory, I remember, you know, it was like day 3, and I had our existing Maduro and I had 2 test blends that I was smoking at the same time. And I mean, I would sit back, I'd close my eyes, I'd let the smoke roll out, I'd try to retrohale, I'd try to do all the stuff to get all the flavor notes that I could.
Yeah.
And I remember just being engrossed in conversation with Alec and Lewis. And then after about 25, 30 minutes, I'd look down. Our existing cigar had gone out. Test blend number 2 had gone out. And I'd smoked test blend number 1 down to almost the nub. And I was like, God darn it, this is a good cigar.
Yeah.
And that was the one that when we came back, everyone that we sent it out to said, yeah, test blend number 1. That's the one that you guys got to go with for the Maduro. So,
well, one of another cigar blender brand owner who also did a factory change, I talked to him about it, and he had a great, because I'm a musician, so I tend to think about things in those terms, and he put it in the sort of those terms. He said, when I first started my brand and the factory that I was working with, it's like it's like giving the music for your song to another band and having them play it.
Yeah.
And he's like, at first they played it just right, and after a while it just didn't sound right. And I would go to them and say, my song doesn't sound the way it's supposed to sound. It doesn't have that same energy that it's supposed to have. And they'd say, okay, we'll work on it. But it just never got any better. So we went to another factory, and he gave him the music or his blend. And he said, I need it to sound like X, Y, and Z. And they said, okay. And they made test blends for him, and he got to like test blend 16. And he's like, that's the way my song's supposed to sound.
Yeah.
And he said after switching, it's like every time now consistently, they brought his cigars back to the way they're supposed to taste, the way, you know, what you guys had originally envisioned.
Yeah. And that was the thing too, where, you know, when we originally did our first blends, we thought that, hey, we're a brand that we're trying to attract new smokers, blue collar, military. So, you know, should we have blends that are more approachable. And so that was kind of the word that we used a lot, is approachable. And I still think our cigars are very approachable. We don't have anything really heavy. We don't have anything that you're going to wake up with or feel in your chest.
What's the master blender you kept wanting to add?
Yeah. So when we're working on the Candela, there was no Ligero in it.
Ligero.
He's like, there needs to be Ligero in this. And I was like, no. Like I kept backing him up, and every single time he'd walk away just to check, just like, but we knew what we wanted.
Did you smoke it with Ligero in it? Did you let him?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We let him. And that was the thing too, where he would bring us some stuff where, you know, I just have an idea. I just have an idea. I don't do this on a daily basis. So yes, we definitely let them run and let them influence. And what was cool is even, you know, spoken to some of the Cuevas test blends over dinner that they were working on and talking about the things that they were going through, you know, why this one hadn't come to market yet, what they're trying to do with this one. But what for me, I related a lot of the blending process to cooking. So I cook a ton. I'm a huge foodie. I'm affectionately referred to as that asshole in the kitchen because I will criticize you in your own kitchen.
I can relate.
Yeah,
I can relate.
Absolutely. I've got opinions about food, but I remember, you know, we were working on the Habano, and they were looking at a couple different binders, and you know, and that was the thing too, where every time you do a test blend, the way that we approached it was, hey, let's start with a wrapper. You know, that's pretty universal what we're going to use. You know, and then let's look at a standard binder, and then let's change some of the filler, and then let's standardize on the filler. Then let's look at the binder and see how those notes kind of work with all that. And I remember these two different binders. One was Nicaraguan, and one I think it was Dominican. And I remember getting very similar heat, like spice. And I was like, this one is more like horseradish, where it's on the nose and it's really in your sinus. And the other heat is very similar intensity, but it's more like ginger. It's more sweet, where if you cook a lot, you kind of know that there's different dynamics between those two heat profiles. And so a lot of that, and I started like, whenever I'd smoke something, I'd be like, I feel like the flavor profile, I started relating to them in shapes. So I actually drew a lot of the shapes as I was smoking too, where it's like, this one to me is a very good outer, like kind of mid, but it's very hollow on the inside. There's not a lot of base, you know, there's not a lot of filler behind it that I feel like needs to elevate this a little bit. And so just relating a lot to blends with cooking and shapes, you know, kind of, you know, I don't have synesthesia or anything like, you know, Luciano. But definitely I started seeing a lot of the flavor profiles more in shapes, where that's how I would just describe it to them, and kind of went with that to try to more round out our flavor profiles.
Sorry, Matt.
No, go ahead.
Cut you off again. I like the idea more of the cooking, using the cooking rather than a musician, because I can't play.
But you can eat.
But you can eat. But I can eat.
You can eat.
I know how to eat.
I can eat too.
I mean, I can eat too. So I like the food, and I like the shape idea too. That's a good one.
Yeah.
The patterns.
I like that.
Because you think about it, and we probably don't know this too, because we're in the cigar industry, where sometimes you smoke a cigar and you just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And you know, some of your interviews with like the Blind Man's Puff guys, and like some of those where they talk about like enjoying the cigars, you know, I really related with that episode watching that, where it's like, I get this, because it's hard for me not to sit down and smoke a cigar and be like, oh,
break it
yep,
apart,
no, this wrapper's from Nicaragua.
Yeah.
I can pick that out. And I'll never forget, I was on a walk with my family. Coming back from PCA, I usually have a cigar a day of someone else's that I smoke, because I just want to see what's in the industry. I remember going on a walk and really enjoying the cigar. And I was like, this has got to be Nicaraguan Habano wrapper, and it's got to be these fillers, just the countries. Yeah. And I text the brand owner, and I was like, hey, is this blend this? And like, yes. And I was like, it was the first time I was ever able to call out the origins, every single part of the cigar. But you know, day 3, day 2, I mean, you're smoking for 12 hours a day. I did find myself so many times just smoking with my eyes closed, just to try to like reduce that sensory aspect of it, and just, you know, what am I feeling? What am I tasting? What, you know, and that's where a lot of the shapes started coming out, where I felt like it was more of a experience around the shape profile of a cigar, and it was, you know, something I never experienced before. But I mean, you're doing it for so long in that week that you kind of start having out of body experiences and smelling colors and all that stuff. So
that's TPE.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other Other than
yeah.
A
previous.
lot of fun at TPE,
So
right?
are you guys?
Yeah.
Are you guys planning? We've talked to a few manufacturers and cigar makers that
We're not
said
going.
they're not going to TPE anymore.
No, we attended the first year, and it was like, wow, we should be here.
Yeah.
We had a good experience attending the show, and then we exhibited. So we were in the premium
Pavilion.
cigar pavilion.
Pavilion, yeah.
We did
Which
that.
is awesome.
We did that 2 years in a row, and when we look at the numbers and our return on our investment is we're just not making it. And for a boutique brand, small, I mean, we're pinching pennies here. And
Yeah.
I just emailed her yesterday
Yeah.
and told her we're not going to be back next year.
What's tough about it is I don't know your guys' opinion on the show either, but it seems like the last couple years has gone so far away from cigars.
Yeah, they're more marijuana now.
Oh my
and
goodness.
TH and
Well, even like
Delta.
walking the show last year was like it's laid out just horseshit. The layout is so bad. There's no sight lines. It's not organized. There's just stuff everywhere. It's like they just don't care about cigars anymore.
and PCA for your bang for your buck, you get so much, and it's our people.
Those are the
It's
customers you
our,
want.
yes.
Yeah. PCA next year is going to be interesting in New Orleans.
Yeah, it will be.
You know,
I'm bringing a vest. How about you?
yeah, but just the smoking laws and
Yeah.
all that, and
I got something. Sorry.
We don't
Go
have
ahead.
there's no reciprocal carry down there, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, there is.
I have a
Well,
Leo
I've been
stuff.
down there.
I can carry it in
Yeah.
all 50 states.
Okay.
What about you? You too, Joe? No? I want to ask you guys about Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival is going on this weekend. Have you guys ever been?
I never
I've
have been.
never
So
had.
here's the thing. It's always on the same weekend that aligns with my youngest son's birthday.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
your son's birthday.
So
was there.
it's just like I always want to go, and I've heard so many fantastic things about that festival that it's one of the best multi-vendor cigar events in the country. I've just never been able to go because that's when my son's birthday is,
Yeah.
and until he's older and out of the house, I'm not going to miss that.
and there's two parts of it, right? There's
who's the big arching smoke, not smoke in, smoke
Cigar Dojo.
Cigar
No.
Dojo,
friendly smoke, no smoker friendly.
Smoker Friendly.
Smoker
Oh, the
Friendly.
big retailer. Yes.
Yep. So Smoker Friendly has a vendor
Yeah.
portion that is like the Thursday, Friday, and then the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival is all day Saturday,
All day
open to
Saturday.
the public. And
Yeah.
it's a big media thing, and then
Yeah.
there's a lot of all the major brands are there, and it's been on my list every single year. I usually last minute I'm asking you like we should go to this, and it's like, oh, it's next week,
Yeah.
But we've never gone.
Everybody that I've talked to that has been there has said they do not regret going, and they will go again.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting because I've gotten the opposite.
really,
I've gotten
from vendors or from smokers.
from vendors.
okay.
So
I've heard it from smokers.
Okay,
So,
yeah, and
yeah.
I think
For
from a
consumers,
smoker
yeah.
perspective,
Yeah.
a consumer perspective, it's lights out.
Yeah.
I think the problem
Because our contribution as a vendor is like, I'm going to throw out a number, 1,500 cigars that we have to provide.
just for the base membership thing.
Mm.
Yep.
And that's just to get you in the door, correct?
Yeah, and
Right.
then there's like a plus version, like a VIP version. Then you can also do giveaway stuff
Yep.
on top of that.
And then if we want to sell, we can do that, but they eat up quite a bit of your margin. So they
Because it all runs through Smoker Friendly.
Because everybody gets a piece of the pie, right?
which I get. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to build your brand, right? What is it? You got to brand awareness before
Yeah,
you
you have
brand.
to have brand awareness to get brand awareness. But yeah, so I've heard that it's tough because a lot of those events too are dwarfed by the companies that have the really good giveaways, where they've got a ton of swag.
The companies that have the coin to
Exactly.
Didn't BCA? I remember like 3-4 years ago when we were getting into the game, like BCA, which is the Boutique Cigar Association, had their own festivals in Indiana.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to it that first year. And then since we joined the BCA, I've not heard an echo about the BCA festival.
I don't know if that still is happening or not. I mean, as far as like smaller festivals in the Midwest, smaller to medium-sized festivals, obviously we love Cigars and Baseball.
100%.
I've heard good things about the Brew City Cigar Festival in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Okay.
I've heard good things about.
What do you guys attend outside of Cigars and Baseball, which is local? Have you guys been to any other cigar festivals?
I've I have.
Raul has.
You went down to the
As a
Miami,
media
Tampa?
organization, we have not.
Okay.
Raul's been to
Espinosa,
Lazona-Palooza,
Palooza,
which
Okay.
is
That was
which
close.
is more of a. It's not really a multi-vendor. It's more of like a brand.
Yep. What about Big Smoke? Isn't that one in
We went
Vegas?
to-
Oh, sorry.
we
We've been to
on my birthday.
the
that
Great
one
Smoke,
year, a couple years ago.
Smoke
2 years
Inns,
ago?
Yeah.
Was it 2 years ago?
3 years ago,
I turned 40, so it was my 40th birthday. It was
Such a-
3 years ago. Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
that was a fantastic event,
Yep.
an absolute blast.
Since we're not going to TPE and PCA's in New Orleans
April.
in
April.
April, I want to make a list of like, all right, what are like the top 3 festivals that we need to be at next year? Other Rocky Mountain, Cigar Festival. There's a couple in Florida that I'm
Yeah, we
thinking
did one.
about too.
We did one at
Big
that
Smoke.
store in Jacksonville.
The
That's
Great
more-
Smoke.
Yep.
Great Smoke.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Great Smoke put on by
Smoke Inn.
Smoke Inn.
Yeah, the Great Smoke. That's
And-
our cigar aficionado in Vegas, isn't it?
The big smoke. Big Smoke
Big
is Cigar
Smoke, yeah.
Aficionado. Great
Yeah.
Smoke
Yep.
is Smoke Inn.
And what's the one in Kentucky or
My old Kentucky Herf. That's
pretty
another
good,
one that
too.
we've heard fantastic things
Yep,
about.
The Luciano Lounge.
That's
too.
in Ashland, Kentucky.
interesting.
That'd be a good one. They're very veteran friendly there too as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
that's a good one to get in Luciano.
It's
family.
typically this makes it a little tougher, but it's typically Mother's Day weekend.
Mm.
So,
So you have to,
that's
so you have to
Fishing
skip
opener.
fishing.
yeah.
I usually have drill that weekend too.
But I know there are a lot. I mean, there's so many like medium-sized regional cigar festivals around
Yeah.
the country. I mean, believe me, and I know you guys are in the same boat. It would be a lot of fun to be able to go to all of them just to see which ones, like to make a list and say,
Yeah,
okay, rate them and say, okay, these are the ones to go to, and these are the ones.
This is worth my time, my money.
Exactly.
And it's
My
tough
experience.
because we kind of thought about that with TPE, like, hey, let's maybe give it one more year.
Yep.
Because
Right.
with PCA being in New Orleans, maybe TPE will pick back up this year with PCA being a little later. But it's like that is just not working out for us.
No, well, and for you guys as a brand, I can only imagine the expenditures that you've got to undertake. For us as media, it's really for us. It's only about the proximity of time. It's
Yeah.
like and even now with like mid-April for PCA in New Orleans, and then what is TPE very end of January, I think. That's still too close together.
Yeah.
And as a media organization, we have to choose.
Yeah.
We have to pick one, and we're obviously going to pick PCA because basically every brand
Is there.
is there.
Yeah.
And next
Did you
year,
guys-
everybody will be there. won't they?
Everybody's going to
Yeah.
be. Well, yeah, the big four will be.
Yeah.
Davidoff said they're returning to the fold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys do TPE last year?
No, we didn't. But I think TPE too. It's like those smaller smoke shops and whatnot. That have brands that are already legacy brands, and that's what they're trying to keep in those smoke shops. So I mean, you can tell that's what they're catering towards now with that end of it.
Well, and it's like they make so much money from the other part of the industry too, where it's like,
Right.
man, that industry party a couple years ago with that cover band, was
Radio X.
so
Oh, Radio
good.
X, the
Oh
best
my
cover
goodness.
band in
They
the
did that
world.
2 years in a row.
Oh,
there, yeah.
and they
2
have
years in a
prime
row.
rib and mashed
Yep.
Yeah,
potatoes,
great
and-
food. So they know how. That's one of
Cruise
the. And
State
I've
knows how to party.
we've talked to the people at PCA saying, because it's here's the funny thing is, for years I was like, no, PCA needs to save money. They need to keep it simple, and they need to put that money into the legal fight.
Yeah,
But
fight the good fight.
then we went to the TPE party, and I was like, you know what? Sometimes you have to you have to spend money to advertise for yourself. And
Yeah.
PCA, I think, as a trade show,
Oh man,
needs to, if they put on a party with a band like that, with food like that on the opening night. I mean, the gala, don't get me wrong, the gala, it's okay
Okay.
that the PCA puts on, but TPE puts on an absolute banger of
Oh
a
my
party
goodness.
that you want to attend.
we went to that going, hey, let's go for half hour. Let's see who's there.
And you
Let's
close the place down,
run
didn't
into
you?
the Boveda guys, and then it was
Yeah.
like, oh wait, all this food is for free.
Yeah.
and this
Uh-huh.
band freaking whales, and
I'm filling my
Open bar?
pockets with cigars. Like,
and someone handed you
Like a
17
kid in a
cigars
candy
and a
shop.
Right.
cutter when you walked
And
in.
a
It's like,
t-shirt and a cutter and a lighter and a
Puppy.
reach around and whatever else.
yeah, I was like,
was
okay.
it the Sahara that they had the whole
Yeah.
patio?
The whole
And the
courtyard.
funny thing about it is, we went into the bar, and it looked like there was a rope to get out there. And so we're like, oh, there must be something else going on out there. And so we're like in the bar area, and I'm like, I don't know, I see people with badges walking out there. Maybe let's go test our luck, see if we can get through security. And yeah, that was the cigar event. It's like, holy crap. It wasn't just the bar with all these people. It's like there's an actual awesome thing on here. Yeah. That band wailed. Holy crap.
Maybe we'll get our name on one of those events someday.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So PCA, if you're listening, founders would like to sponsor that big old party that you guys are doing.
Send an email.
I've just
to
been asking
Angelo
Ryan,
at
what do we want to do
Cigar
with all
Co.
this extra money?
I haven't checked on the rates for Radio X, but I think there are. Yeah, that's what they're called.
Founders got it. They got it. Yeah.
Founders.
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah.
We advertise locally on the Patriot.
140K.
Yeah.
Just for one band for 4 hours.
Why not?
You can.
Do two of them.
Yeah, no problem. Two of them. There we go.
Of Justin Bieber this year.
Baby. Okay, I keep singing songs and we're gonna get like shut off of YouTube if I keep singing these songs.
I thought I turned the radio off earlier.
So for Justin and Raul, I'm curious.
I mean, if you're gonna ask what time it is again, I still don't have a watch.
Well, I mean it's 10:04.
Oh, okay.
We've been on live for 120.
He hasn't had a drink in like 35 minutes.
We have a bottle here. We can
drinking.
refill whatever we need to refill.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time?
Joe got me. He refilled.
I think it's time.
All right, guys, it is now time for this week's Numero de los Muertos. And as always, Numero de los Muertos brought to us by our friends at Smoke Inn.
I'm Steve here with the GOAT to tell you about Smoke Inn's Cigar of the Month Club. Every month, I personally handpick 5 premium cigars. Another great feature is our Double Down Club. With a simple check mark, you can get double this great selections every month and save $10. Every month, there's a special discount code where if you like any of the selections, you can get them at a special discounted rate for our Cigar of the Month Club members. We've made it super simple. All you gotta do is log into your account. There's a little green button there. If it's green, you're active. You want to take a break going out of town, simply hit the button and you'll deactivate your membership. We get the stuff out on the 28th of every month. Our membership bills on the 28th, and we get every member's package out on the 28th if it's a shipping day. All delivered to your door for $34.95. 5 great reasons on what makes Smoking Cigar of the Month Club the best club out there. Check it out. Peace.
All right, Numero de los Muertos, episode 258. The number this week is 11.
11.
Ooh.
11. Now, this is a specific historical event. This isn't this many people died from this specific cause. This is a historic event. 11 people died at this one historic event. And
was it the Boston Massacre?
I'll say no. I'm going to say it was.
When the Clintons
I'm not going to give you the exact year right now because I don't want to give it away too quickly. I'm going to say it's within the last 50 years. It was in the United States.
When the Clintons decided to run for presidency.
No,
no, that's triple digit.
No, that was way higher than 11. Way higher than 11. Yeah.
Land or sea?
Land.
Accident or intentional?
Accident.
Vehicle?
Unintentional, we'll say.
Okay.
No vehicles were involved. Always a very good question.
Animals?
No animals were involved.
Is there a bridge involved?
No bridges were involved. Very good question, actually.
Was it in New Jersey?
Was not in New Jersey.
Yeah. Location specific or spread
location out? Specific. One event at one specific location in the United States.
Okay.
Accidental.
On land.
David Floyd nightclub. No, not a nightclub fire.
Movie theater?
Not a movie theater.
Is it in the Midwest from Kelly Conway?
Midwest, yes. Yes.
I was hoping it was a Boston Massacre because ever since Rob nailed it on the first guess, I've been chasing that high.
That was
years.
That was like less than a second and a half.
Correct.
But he said Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls.
35W Bridge.
Not the 35W Bridge.
That would have a good one.
I don't remember how many people died in that particular disaster.
11.
It might have been 11 also.
Was it environmental? accident?
Not environmental, no.
Okay. Was it a structural failure?
Not a structural failure, no.
Was it trampling? Did people get trampled?
Was it a circus?
Sort of.
Was it at a silo?
Not trampled, not trampled necessarily.
Was it Hell's Angels concert?
Not a Hell's Angels
back to
concert.
the Rolling Stones.
The Hell's Angels security.
How about the
That
fair?
Las Vegas.
Not Las Vegas, Midwest. This is
Okay.
Midwest.
Was it at a
11.
concert?
It was at a concert.
Yeah.
At the fair?
It was not at the fair.
Okay.
It was, but it was at a concert.
Was it
The last time the symphony played here?
No, Midwest, not Minnesota,
Woodstock?
not
Woodstock's on
Woodstock.
the East
It was
Coast.
in the. It was. It was
Coast.
between. It was in the 1970s that this happened.
So Raul will think back to the
Woodstock.
70s. What news events were happening?
Midwest. Yeah, I was in New York in the 70s.
David Floyd.
Boom.
David Floyd. All right. So, December 3rd, 1979, English rock band The Who performed at Riverfront Coliseum, now known as Heritage Bank Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. A rush of concert goers outside the Coliseum's entry basically crushed people up against the doors, resulting in the deaths of 11 people. Wow. They literally got crushed by the crowd because the doors opened out.
Wow.
I think,
and they couldn't. They had the doors to the venue hadn't opened yet.
I think Floyd looked it up. He gets too many right. He's cheating.
Well, I mean, gradually, if you're good at your Google foo, although we appreciate when people don't use Google, but if you're good at your Google foo, you can narrow it down and be like, and because we got to like it was a concert, it was a trampling death, but not quite a trampling death, but sort of it. It's like
Floyd, did you cheat?
You can narrow it down.
Floyd, did you cheat?
And don't let me forget. So we're going to do lightning round. And after lightning round, I'm going to give everybody who is watching, I'm going to give them a question from earlier in the show that the first person to get the correct answer in the comments is going to win the prize. But first, before we do that, we're going to go. Oh, and that was this week's Numero de los Muertos.
I'm going to drop my voice to like...
All right, let's jump into the lightning round, brought to us by J.C. Newman Cigar Company, America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker, creators of the popular Brick House, Perla Del Mar, Diamond Crown, and The American. J.C. Newman Cigar Company operates out of their 113-year-old El Reloj cigar factory in historic Cigar City, Tampa, Florida. For more information on their cigars or visitor experience, please visit jcnewman.com. All right. Lightning round questions. Now, I mean, aside from Joe, who said 6 words tonight, and that's okay because Joe, we still love having you here.
Absolutely.
I have a list on my phone of very fresh, slightly odd lightning round questions, and I always just like to sort of randomly scroll through it.
Love it.
Angel's really good at that.
I'm still very proud of my fight music answer.
You got to remind me what yours was, though, because
it's raining men.
It's raining men.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I love the ones that are like total left field. Yeah. Like they're not aggressive. Like one for me is like Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim.
Yeah.
It's like it should never be fight music.
Yeah,
but
if you're about to get into a fight and It's Raining Men comes on and you're not, do you really think you're the hero in that story if that's not your song that just came on? Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Oh, this is one. Okay. Angela, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
If you were to change out the legs on your body for the legs of any particular animal, which animal would it be and why?
We're talking legs only?
Yeah.
Waist down or legs?
Well, just legs only.
Legs of any animal. Ooh. I would probably have to go with the silverback gorilla.
Oh, yeah.
I knew you were going to pick that for some reason.
A little bit more functionality. Squat a little bit more than I can do right now.
Severe, just intense amounts of strength and power.
Oh, my goodness. Absolutely. Yeah. Pound for pound.
Brian, what about you?
Don't say chicken because you already got chicken legs.
Have you seen my calves though?
No, I think I got hungry. I was looking at your legs.
I was thinking of a horse. What's the man and the
Minotaur.
horse? A minotaur.
Minotaur,
I was literally picturing myself as a minotaur. That's minotaur, whatever you want to say it. So I was figuring that there would be, I could, gallop.
So you're gonna have 4 legs.
Yeah, I'd have 4 legs.
Well, that'd be a centaur.
Centaur. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I was envisioning myself as a centaur.
Centaur. That's what it is.
All right. So, Joe, you have to swap out your legs for the legs of another animal.
Speak?
Joe does speak.
I think I would go with a rhino.
Rhino.
Ooh. Nothing but ass, baby.
Big time.
Well,
Big time.
Yeah, rhinos are crazy powerful animals.
why?
What do we?
No, why is he going with
Yeah,
rhino?
why are you going with a rhino? Just because of the power? Because of the
Yeah.
The power,
super thick skin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's a great answer. Holy crap, that's a great answer. All right. Let's go with no, not that one.
Yeah, do
I
it.
like that one.
Do it.
All right, so we all know maybe we don't all know, but one of the most powerful senses for bringing back memory is smell. So Angelo, again, starting with you, what is like an aroma that brings back memories from childhood, from some, just like immediately you're back in that place?
Yeah, this one. Okay, I got to go with my first answer.
Famunda?
Okay, Mr. Vanilla.
Vanilla waitress.
Exactly.
Still waiting for that cigar to come out.
So my wife and I have been together for almost 20 years. And when we started dating, it was in high school, and she wore Dolce & Gabbana light blue was the perfume that she wore. And so I don't wear cologne. She doesn't really wear anything anymore. But if I ever catch a hint of that, it brings me back to like my youth when I first started dating my wife.
That's actually a good one.
I like that. Brian, what about
You
you?
get some brownie points when you get home. I guarantee it.
Newspaper.
Like the smell of a fresh
Yeah. You used to get beat with newspaper?
open newspaper.
Haha. I had a paper route. Like when I grew up in a small town, me and my brother, I was probably like, I don't know, first, second grade. We had a paper route. And so the 5 o'clock in the morning, they would drop off stacks, and they would be like, the twine, and they'd drop them off in our driveway, and we would have to roll them and put a rubber band around them. And we would deliver like 500, I don't know. My numbers. I'm sure I'm exaggerating. Maybe 1,000.
It was like 10,000 papers a morning.
10,000 newspapers.
Newspaper enterprise.
Yeah, and we had a paper out, and so like when was the last time you read a newspaper?
I don't read. You know that you watch the show. You know I don't read.
Honestly, for me, it was just a couple months ago. Actually, no, it was last month. I went on a fishing trip with my buddies, and we were up in a place way up in northern Minnesota, no cell signal. So at the gas station, I bought a newspaper.
Yeah.
Do you guys know Calvin and Hobbes?
Yes.
My gosh.
So my 9-year-old son, he's got a couple of the books.
Yep.
I think we stole it from one of your kids.
From me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have all those from high school.
He has. So I'm reading Calvin and Hobbes, and I think this is like, I'm going left side over here, like left field. But
Do it.
But it's the comics that when I grew up, we would like, as a kid, I mean, we'd read the comics in the Sunday newspaper, and Calvin Hobbes was the greatest, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm reading this book with my son, and I'm just like having all this like deja vu of newspapers growing up. And yeah, I don't know, the smell of newspapers, and I'm thinking comics and Calvin and Hobbes. That's where my head went.
Yeah.
So you started earning money
that.
early. I like it. You've been a hustler ever since you was a little kid.
Oh yeah. Like when I had a paper route, my dad was like, "Oh, so you're making money. All right, so you can buy your own clothes now."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was a caddy, and I don't know. I've been working since I was 6 6, 7.
Child labor laws.
Yeah. Child
Rooted in
labor.
this country.
It's like when we had our boys come in and roll, or they packaged our sample packs together. And at first I was like $1 a sample pack. And then my kids realized that like, oh, I can do like 100 of these in like 2 hours. And we're like, oh, we can't afford this.
25 cents
Right.
a sample pack. 20 cents a
Yeah.
sample pack.
I was.
Wait, 10 cents. I said 10 cents. That's what I actually said.
Let's dial this back a little bit.
Joe, what about you?
This might surprise you, but probably the smell of bacon.
Oh, I mean, I love the smell of bacon every day. So are you just f***ing with me right now, or does it actually bring you back to something?
Who doesn't like the smell of bacon?
Everybody loves
He's
it.
got
Everybody
a,
loves bacon.
We got to put a George.
Even
Foreman in the
vegetarians
office.
love the smell of
do
bacon.
you have pigs at your farm? How many
Occasionally.
animals do you have?
I don't know. Too many.
He's got
He does honey. He does maple syrup.
Oh,
he's got chicken.
all right. We got to talk.
Yeah.
We got to talk. I need.
Man, I'm telling you, man of many hats.
Man.
Joe Hader.
Honey maple syrup, bacon.
We try to get them to work during
Bacon maple.
harvest season when they're
So,
harvesting all the maple trees here, and he's like, "Sorry guys,
2 week notice.
2 weeks."
2 week vacation. Like, you didn't read the back page. You don't have vacation.
Can't come in.
So he'll quit for 2 weeks.
Exactly.
He
We'll beg
doesn't-
him to come back.
He doesn't care. He shows up when he wants.
All right.
That was
Let's.
kind of the arrangement, right?
That's true.
It's true.
Marlboro Reds.
Don't give me a schedule. I'll come when I want.
See, this is bad for a podcast to have dead air.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I was-
Silence is
So
okay.
let's get back to the bacon and everything you cook on your farm, or everything you harvest on your farm. So we got maple, honey, chickens.
How many chickens do you have?
Pretty much count to 20 and then start over.
30 or
pigs.
40,
Just kinda
more
like
than
go on
20.
a roll.
You got pigs?
In the freezer now. Yeah.
In the freezer now.
I like that. Good
Do you-
place for-
is it yearly that you raise pigs, or is it just whenever the mood strikes, or whenever you're able to
So
get
we-
quality animals?
We have a good friend that is actually a Duluth police officer.
Okay.
We used to, well, he still does raise pigs, and we'd get them for free from him. So
Mm.
we'd raise a couple a year.
Heck yeah.
Slaughter
And
them.
we'd sell maybe 1 or 2 of them, and go from there. And
Yeah.
How much maple syrup do you do in a year?
it depends. Well, I've been getting to better every year. So
Yeah.
Last year, I think we did, I want to say 15 gallons of maple syrup.
Jeez.
Big maple syrup guy.
When do you do this? You harvest them in the fall or
Spring.
spring?
Springtime, baby.
Maple syrup is springtime.
So
When's the honey?
You got to spend a lot of time sitting by a fire,
Honey's fall.
cooking the maple syrup.
Yeah.
So it's basically 40 gallons of tree sap makes 1 gallon of
Gee.
Yeah.
syrup.
Wow.
So you tap, what do
40
you
to
tap?
what?
Like 300 trees?
No, we only tap. I think this last year we tapped 25.
Oh,
Wow.
So you get how many gallons of sap per season do you get from one average size tree?
15 times 40. Engineer,
Oh,
go.
boy.
60.
600.
600.
600 gallons of sap.
6,000?
Yeah, we probably do like the whole season. We do about 600 gallons of sap.
Oh, wow.
Insane.
And your the cookers are wood fired? They're not like
Yep.
propane or
It's
anything?
all
Wow,
wood
nice.
fired.
Mhm.
Old school.
Yeah, old school.
Okay, nice.
All right. You got any cattle?
Nope, not
No
yet.
cattle? Okay.
We did a
And,
lot when I was a kid. We did a lot of chickens. Chickens galore. It was
Meat chickens or egg chickens?
both.
Oof.
Both.
I like eggs.
And I still this is interesting. I wasn't even thinking about this, but the smell of the slaughterhouse,
Oh, yeah.
like
Some of my backyard
super
smells like-
distinct, like especially a poultry slaughterhouse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like it's immediately I go back to when I was like 9 years old. like going to the slaughterhouse to make a drop off or a pickup or whatever with my dad, I immediately go back.
And let me tell you, those meat chickens, they're ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Like by the time
And mean.
by the time that they're ready for butcher, you're like, you got to put them out of their misery.
It's like 3 or 4 months, right?
Not even. It's 8 weeks, I think.
8 weeks. Yeah, they just like blow up like a balloon, right?
Yeah, if you don't like, you got to kind of ration their food at a certain times. Otherwise, they will actually break their legs because they get too big too fast.
Yeah, they can't hold up their own weight.
And they'll have heart attacks, and it's insane.
That first week, though, they're mean. They are so like desperately, seriously, when they start to get enough their strength up when they're younger, those
when they get up to their punching weight,
those fryers, those birds that are like for fryers, they are mean, and they will mess you up, man.
Especially turkeys.
Oh, turkeys, we didn't do turkeys. We just did chickens.
Turkeys, they're mean.
Oh, yeah, forget about it. And they're dumb. That sounds like me. Mean and dumb. All right, so let's do the Spirit of Mystery reveal.
Okay.
For this week. So once again, brought to us by our friends at Postania Cigars. Not my favorite whiskey, but this is definitely a cocktail whiskey. It's something I definitely mix in with like lemonade or
you can't tell what that is, no.
Or Coke.
I mean, it's Tennessee whiskey. If it's a major, like, well-known brand of Tennessee whiskey, there's only a few, Dickel, Heaven's Door, Jack Daniels. Those are the three, I think, biggest brands of Tennessee whiskey.
Is Jim Beam from Tennessee?
Well, it depends. I mean, Jim Beam is mostly Kentucky bourbon, but they may make a Tennessee whiskey. I honestly don't have any idea. But mostly Jim Beam is known for Kentucky bourbon. But it's like once you drink the drink, the flavor just goes away immediately. There's no finish. There's no lingering like yumminess that you get from a lot of whiskeys.
It's definitely
it's just that kind of
mixing.
It's that kind of funkiness, that mushroomy, funkiness that I think would go better with something that's more of a sweet cocktail to balance out that funkiness.
They've even named a drink after it. Jack and Coke.
This is Jack Daniels, like original number 7 Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
That's that funk. Yeah. That charcoal like sweat sock kind of funk.
That's what Kelly Conway said. Sweat sock bourbon.
Yeah, sweat sock. I mean, they filter it through, really little bits of charcoal. So,
not to take away from the segment, but I was hoping you'd ask the most overrated and underrated fast food question, because I have a legitimate answer for that.
Raul, please proceed.
Okay, so Pally, what's the most underrated and overrated fast food out there?
Welcome to Fast Food with Angelo.
Yeah,
we're gonna start with Silent Bob over there.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
The most
overrated and underrated
fast food.
Man,
Actually, I'm gonna fire up the Candela.
overrated and underrated.
No, I got one right here.
Well, the man has his own food farm. So.
I got it at McDonald's.
Overrated?
McDonald's overrated.
What's underrated?
Or underappreciated.
Oh, wait, there's two different ones.
Yeah, so the most overrated you think is McDonald's. What do you think is most underrated?
Underrated, underappreciated, guilty pleasure,
overlooked.
one that you love that other people say is terrible.
Arby's.
Oh.
I don't mind Arby's. I don't go there regular. Honestly, I don't think I've been to Arby's in a couple of years.
Their gyros.
Amazing. Good for the gyros.
The gyros.
Somebody else said that recently about their
deli sandwiches.
Their deli sandwiches. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
What do you think's the most underrated?
Yeah. So when I was stationed active duty in Seattle, Tacoma area, we had a fast food place, and I'm gonna F up the name here, but it was Jack's. Help me out here.
Jack in the Box.
Jack in the
Jack
Box.
in the
Jack
Box.
in the box, crack in the box, baby.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
I've
Jack in
never
the
had
Box.
Jack in the Box.
You can't get
Yeah.
Jack in the Box like east of Vegas.
Oh, it's at Hardee's or Carl's Jr. at that
Right.
point. I think they switched.
Is
it
that
over
the
to.
same?
I think it's the
company?
same chain.
Is it really?
I think
Oh,
When,
so. I
when
think,
we go to Vegas,
Yeah.
I will find a Jack in the Box.
yes.
It is amazing. But being a 20-something-year-old, you
Yeah.
know, in the military,
Yeah.
and we would do Jack in the Box 24/7.
Yep.
They serve breakfast all day long. It was amazing. Jack in the Box can cure any hangover. So Jack's in the Box would be the most underrated. Overrated? I don't know. I like Raising Cane's too. That's really good.
Okay.
Sonic is the most overrated.
Yeah, Sonic is
Sonic blows.
Sonic
That's
is
what
terrible.
Kelly said Sonic sucks.
Oh,
Sonic is terrible.
Yeah,
Kelly.
That's true.
Yeah, Sonic
I-
sucks.
I took my family to
Hold
Sonic
on.
once, and it was really bad. And I was like, well, okay, maybe you never know. It's like trying
No.
a cigar. It's like maybe the first one you tried was
Sonic
bad.
does. It was my first job
Justin, one of
actually,
your friends?
but Sonic does have the best drinks. If you're trying to get drinks like their limeades and all that stuff, if you like that stuff when you're a kid, like imagine that,
And
that you
I
have
was-
the good drinks there. when you want
Sonic
that
didn't
mix.
exist until I was
Right.
Yeah, I'm fucking old.
Right.
So Sonic didn't
Well, if
exist
you-
until I was.
But yeah,
This Justin guy said that White Castle's overrated.
yeah, I don't know about that.
No.
Well, I
It's
mean,
not
White
overrated.
Castle is
It's
like
what it is.
it
But
is
it's
what
not
it is.
Overrated. It's not underrated. It is just White Castle.
You know what
And
you're getting.
and
Depends
you
on how much you've had to drink.
that's just and
You know
and
exactly
you know
what you're in for.
Yeah.
and you know what you're in for the next day
Yes.
Oh man,
after the White
Cleansing.
Castle. A
nice
cleansing.
cleansing.
Yeah.
those soft bun, just onion
Yeah.
sliders.
I'm gonna have some tonight when I go.
Rectal rockets with vinyl. That's what we used to. Rectal rockets with vinyl. We used to call them.
Jeez, it feels
All right, Angelo.
All right, I will say, whenever we're doing house projects,
Mhm.
I mean, having a Mountain Dew and a freaking double cheeseburger from McDonald's hits every time.
Hmm.
So I would put that in the underrated category.
Okay.
Hmm.
But I would say what I have found to be criminally underrated, which I disagree with one of your people that you just had on your show recently, is Subway breakfast. Subway
I've
breakfast,
never had it.
Never had
Wales.
Really?
It is so good. You can get it on the flatbread. So do eggs, bacon, you can do sausage or whatever, and then you're basically building whatever you want on top of that. So you're doing like the spinach and the green pepper and onion and all that, and then the different kind of sauces. Slap your mom.
And you call yourself a foodie.
All right.
Oh man. Hey, we were talking about underrated, overlooked, and underappreciated.
So what's overrated?
What is overrated? I really had a strong underrated answer for you there, Raul. But I will also say that the Burger King cheeseburgers I think are significantly underrated as well. Overrated, I would have to go with. I feel like I just had something where the response from it was, if you don't eat it now, it's not good, but I can't remember what that is because it's late and I'm tired. But I would say an overrated fast food item. I'm going to have to go with. I'm going to have to go with.
Just say it. It's
Buzzer.
You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
Taco Bell.
That's
I said it.
that's okay.
I
That's
said
okay.
it. And here's the thing. I love it. I love it. I mean,
I love it too, and I'm with you 100%.
yep.
I love it, and I know it's awful. I know it's disgusting, and I know that it's
Is it
not
even
actually
meat?
good.
Is
What-
it even meat?
It's like 20% meat.
It hurts.
think-
in the
Doesn't
morning.
matter.
It's
It hurts
just,
in the
it
morning.
lights that part of my brain up though.
Yes, it's dopamine.
I know where I'm
Yeah.
like, but like the chalupa, but it's also you gotta add so much hot sauce on it to get like a freaking neural response.
Yeah.
So what would you go? Taco Bell or White Castle?
Taco
Taco
John's.
Bell.
Taco
John's.
Taco
I don't
John.
care. I'm throwing out.
Taco John's is better than Taco Bell.
Yes,
Taco
100%.
John's
I'm with
is
you.
better.
grilled chicken burrito, potato olays.
Oh, potato olays with the cheese
Not
sauce.
the cheese sauce.
Forget about it.
Let's go get some meat.
Hey, where are we going to eat after this?
Let's go eat.
The Mexi rolls, the deep fried Mexi rolls.
Oh my gosh.
Forget about it.
Everything. We had one in my hometown, Taco Tuesday.
Now, if there were only if it's back in my college days, I'm 22 years old. It's 2:30 in the morning. I'm absolutely blasted.
You went to college,
and I only had two choices between White Castle or Taco Bell. I would choose Taco Bell.
Ooh. Oh yeah, 100%.
Lucky we didn't drink together.
Now, if Taco Bell was closed, I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, let's go to White Castle." But if I had to choose between those two when I was 22,
shit, I might have got a DWI in White Castle driveway. Allegedly.
Yeah, White Castle is. Yeah, White Castle doesn't care. Yeah, and White Castle, I think, don't they have like an officer stationed at most White Castles, like pretty much all the time?
Right now,
is that where you hung out,
Joe? Do they? Did you hang out at White Castle a lot?
Did Brooklyn Park have White Castles?
I haven't had
Let's go get some.
Oh, we'll hear those off the air. Dustin, come around. Say hello to all our lovely viewers and listeners.
Meet the guy that's going to build my next.
Yeah, the guy that's going to.
You wanted the 308.
The guy that is allegedly going to build a rifle.
Come in the middle. Say hi.
How's it going, guys?
So, what do you do for the company?
Dustin's been behind the scenes here all night, like taking pictures and doing video stuff and all this. So
yeah, I'm just their friend. I'm just hanging out. Brian calls, like, "What are you doing tomorrow night?" It's like, nothing. Want to come run camera and take photos? I was like, sure, why not? What else am I gonna do? So that's what I do.
Nice. And you smoke? Are you a regular smoker all the time, or just there?
I smoke almost every Friday night with a bunch of my friends.
Okay.
So really, what happened was I never was a cigar guy, and I started hanging out with some guys. They were smoking, and I was like, wow, I need to call Brian and Angelo because they have cigars. So I called them. They gave me a sample pack. I smoked those, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna try a couple of other ones. So I went out, bought a couple of cigars, and came back, and here I am smoking Founder cigars.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So
what's your favorite thing about smoking cigars?
The brotherhood that I found. It's in the industry I'm in, it's kind of the same thing. I've got a pretty good brotherhood when I go hang out with a bunch of people on the weekends, and I never was able to find that anywhere else until I started smoking cigars. And now I found that, whether I'm at the range with all my friends, I've got a brotherhood there. And then when I'm, Friday night hanging out with friends, I got a brotherhood there. And for me, that's the most important thing in life.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got to say that there is something about, and I'm sure you guys, maybe everybody here has experienced this. There is something about that combination of the smell of the range and a cigar at the same time. Yeah. Like
gunpowder and cigar.
I mean, each smell is fantastic on its own, but when you combine them, that's special, man. I mean, and I was just with my son. We went up to a place way up by St. Cloud, and putting some rounds down range, and just that feeling of being there with your child and putting rounds down range and having a cigar going at the same time. And it's absolutely hot as blazes out, but you just don't care. Yeah. It was just a great day, and we're absolutely getting tortured by the flies and all this, and we didn't care. It was a great day.
Yeah,
so
I've actually found that here lately, I'll take a cigar with me to the range, and I'm training for a couple of big competitions, so I'll have about 1,000 rounds ready to go, and that's what my range day would be, 1,000 rounds. And I'll order Jimmy John's because they'll deliver to the range, which I find them to be overrated.
There you go.
But they deliver to the range. Right?
I agree.
So it's all about convenience.
Yes. So I'll order Jimmy John's, and I'll sit down, and I'll light up one of my cigars, and I'll kick back and relax and think about what I was just doing, what I was working on, what I was succeeding at during that training session, and then what I was failing at and what I need to change. So
you're competing against, you're going to Worlds, right? I mean, that's the idea.
Well, my goal is to go to Worlds, which is in the Czech Republic next May. But right now, my next match is in Arizona. at the Arizona PCC Championship. Then I'm going to Nationals in Talladega in October. In December, I'll be in Vegas, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Heck yeah.
Well, if you're going to be gone so much, how are you going to build my pew-pew?
Well, I'm gone all the time and I still find ways to build guns. So, the cool thing is the two of the big companies I represent, they pay me to go to the range.
Yeah.
And they pay me to build
Nothing
guns.
wrong with that.
The one thing they also try to pay me to do is clean everybody else's guns. So I'm trying to get out of that one.
Yeah.
But building guns is fun. I can usually turn that into a video for one of the companies I'm working for and have a good time.
Nice.
Must be rough.
So
you get paid to shoot guns, paid to build guns, paid to smoke cigars.
Poor guy.
Poor guy.
Man, I feel bad for you.
It's a rough guy. It's a rough life, guys. That's why I eat overrated Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
And I also want to throw this in there. Yeah. I also want to throw this in there that Hoppy's number 9 was my smell. It reminds me,
Yes.
Reminds me of sitting there at deer camp with all of my family and my friends. Listening to the older gentlemen, the grandfathers and uncles and dads talking about their, growing up and hunting and, how bad we have it now compared to how they had it back in the day, So I just had to throw those in because those were on my mind.
I like it.
No, that's a great one. I still have the old, tin box, slide top, that my dad gave me years and years ago with the cloth and the, all that stuff in there. And yeah, when I, cause I've got all my like fancy quote unquote modern stuff, but then I get the cardboard box out that's got my dad's stuff in it. And you open that cardboard and it's just that smell hits you, whether it's the hoppies or the rem oil or whatever. It's just like instantly I go back to the woods in Indiana where I grew up, and I see those targets off in the distance and I love it.
Yeah, I think that was part of the thing. Like when you were talking about, going through and smoking with your eyes closed and going through everything. There's a lot to be said about that when we just look at a branding standpoint of anything in life. Is that when people grow up or spend a lot of time with you, if they get used to a certain smell, all of those memories are going to come back to them. And I find like when you're looking at cigars and what you were going through, get somebody to keep coming back to your brand. It's going to be that smell. It's going to be that taste that will forever carry on that brand, and people will build memories off of that. And that's how you do, that's branding right there.
Yeah.
I told my wife, if you've spent a lot of time in an actual humidor, how that like hangs on your skin, so that like cedar and tobacco, not burnt tobacco, but that tobacco box that fresh, and cedar. Yeah. And I told my wife, I was like, this might sound weird, but I know the scent that I want my grandkids to remember me by. It's like it's that scent right there. So
I stopped by the office today to grab cigars for the show, and I had my 9-year-old with me, and he got all excited because he was looking forward to the smells. Nice. And I was like, because he goes and hangs out in the humidor.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
There we go. That's another adventure.
Yeah,
I think it smells like tobacco.
I keep telling him.
I'm like, it's 21, buddy. You got to be 21.
Yeah, got to be 21.
I got to change my answer too, from bacon to cigar smells, because when I was younger, I used to go into my grandparents' basement. My grandpa used to smoke cigars, and best smell ever.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's how I remember him.
I feel like we should hug it out.
Oh, we will off camera. Giant hug, centipede hug.
Whoa. Hey, whoa. Hey, whoa. Got to buy me dinner first, sailor.
White Castle, baby. Save it off for the next day.
Well, Dustin, thank you, brother, for stopping in and saying hi to us.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Dustin's the best.
Let's jump into notable smokables brought to us by our friends at Don Doroteo Cigars.
Love those guys.
That up. Don Doroteo is a brand with both purpose and passion dedicated to creating change from within. By developing their own land, they're able to own the entire process throughout the life cycle of the plant. They methodically carry out each step, ensuring that the final product is of the finest quality. The new Salt of the Earth lines, Piedra Viva and Piedra Angular, are available now at Don Doroteo retail partners. Visit dondoroteo.com to learn more.
Fun fact.
Jump in.
We do fulfillment for Don Doroteo.
I know. And I love that. And that, I I'm in the same boat as you are. We love those guys. We love the way they do business. We love the way they communicate with their media partners, with their retailers, with their customers. Just really like the way they're doing things.
They're so refreshing to talk to as well because they have a figure it out attitude.
Yeah.
Where like they ask us to do stuff all the time. We're like, hey, and what's awesome is I remember last year they were asking us to do a bunch of stuff, and I got a call from Brandon. He's like, hey man, I get it. Like we're asking you to do a ton of stuff that normal distribution and fulfillment companies don't do. Like if you ever want to tell us to go pound sand, do it. I'm like, hey man, honestly, this helps us because it helps us figure out what we're good at, what we're not good at. And if we're going to stretch ourselves with you guys right away and you guys are okay with us failing a little bit and figuring it out, like,
about failure,
so they've been so good to work with.
Yeah. So if you guys remember from this segment, this is basically, we talk about a cigar we smoked recently that was notable to us. Now, this could be a cigar that's been on the market for decades that we smoked for the first time in a very long time, or it could be a cigar that's brand new to the market that we smoked for the first time ever. Obviously, you're smoking mostly your own stuff, which is great. But if you get a chance from time to time to dive outside of your own brand portfolio, is there something you smoked recently that was notable to you? So, Brian, let's start with you.
I'm the worst person to ask this question.
Let me tell a story about this. Okay, let me publicly shame Brian for a second. So, Brian deploys last year. And I'm like getting really sentimental about it. And I buy him a Pelican Vault 300 case, like the big one.
Yeah, the big with the wheels on it.
No, so like it's the big handgun safe.
Oh,
and so
okay.
It's like it's the big one. And I didn't have time to laser, so I think I just put a sticker on it. But at TPE, I walked around. I think you actually walked around with a couple people, and we ended up getting a bunch of cigars for Brian on the deployment. I put a bunch of founders in there, and so like I sent him with hundreds of other people's cigars for his deployment, and I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. Brian's gonna come back, he'll smoke a cigar every day, his palate will be super refined, he'll be super knowledgeable.
I know where this is going.
We'll be nerding out now over tobaccos, and he'll be like, yeah, the Nicaraguan was good, but have you had the Honduras? But do you think about this? And do you notice what they did with that? He comes back from his deployment. I'm like, dude, what'd you think of all those cigars? He goes, yeah, I smoked all the founders ones that I gave away all the other ones. And I'm like, sorry, Mom, if you're watching this, but you motherfucker. Like, that was completely opposite the point of what you were supposed to do on your deployment, where you have all the fucking time in the world to smoke cigars, and all you did was smoke ours. Like,
he was pretty bad.
I appreciate the loyalty, though.
Oh yeah, he's a ride or die. He's a ride or die.
It's a good cigar.
It's a great cigar.
Yeah. Okay, so then, if you
what is that? What's the one you gave me for my 40th?
I gave you
the 64.
Well, yeah, you spoke to Padron 64.
Padron 64.
Yeah,
Maduro or natural?
Maduro.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
When I walk into a humidor and I'm gonna buy, I'm gonna spend money.
Yep.
I gravitate to that because I know that I'm all about like consistency. Like I don't like going outside of coloring outside the lines. Like I know what I like.
Mm-hmm.
So, and because I was forced to smoke that one, I'm like, I like this one. I'm gonna smoke this one.
Angelo, you can force me to smoke that whenever you want.
Yeah, buddy. Absolutely.
So I'm the worst person to ask, like, what other brands do you smoke and what do you like? And
so you're going with the Padron 64
Founders?
That's a good brand. That's a good brand.
Oh,
Angelo, do you
I want to hear Joe's. I got one.
Oh, Joe.
Joe, have you strayed?
What's a cigar you smoked recently that stood out to you?
Too.
Oh, Stolen Thrones.
Stolen Throne.
Sorry.
Do you remember which one?
What does it have? What did the
Angelo?
label look like?
Was it
Look like?
Did it have the bird on it?
Yeah.
The crook of the crown.
Yeah.
That's also my favorite blend from them.
It's phenomenal.
I'm the worst when it comes
to I haven't.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Lee Marsh and Stolen Throne. They're doing good stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, they have a new one coming out exclusive with our guys from Oakland. Oakland.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Tonight, it just released tonight.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
That was a great episode, by the way, too.
We
like him. I like him a lot.
He's a good dude.
Yep.
He was just here, right?
What?
Was it Lee?
No.
No,
Oh yeah, Lee.
was here.
Oh, Lee was here.
Yeah.
He
Lee
was
was
down
here.
at Ramsey's.
I hung out with him for a few hours,
I wanted to meet him.
and we sat.
We can hook you up.
We sat completely off the air and disconnected from mobile devices, and did a little dishing the dirt about the cigar industry. Little bit of that, but
Love to have been a fly on that wall.
for off the air purposes. Yeah,
It's great.
I mean, I basically just let him vent. You know, I'm more of a pragmatic kind of guy, and
Well,
he's
I mean, the story behind the name Stolen Throne.
Yes.
I imagine. Yeah.
yeah,
It's got a lot to say.
yeah, he's got a chip in his shoulder, and I don't fucking blame him.
Nope.
I don't blame him one bit.
Nope. He's a good dude.
Yeah,
Love those guys.
absolutely. Joe.
I gotta say, and it's not just because I want to keep my job.
Founders.
Yeah. The Founders Maduro.
That
Founders
is his
Maduro.
go-to.
It's a damn good cigar.
The
What's
new
yours?
one or the legacy?
What's yours?
The new one.
Yeah.
So
Maduro.
it's
Dustin says
it
Maduro.
is, and I've had many people tell me at golf courses and everything, it's one of the best Maduros they've ever had.
Love it. It's a good one. My answer to this question is actually a cigar that made me go out and buy a box of.
Oh, I like
after I
that.
smoked it for the first time. So it was the Dunbarton Pulpetta.
Oh yeah,
That's a great little smoke, ain't it?
Oh my gosh, that 4x48
Great little smoke.
good
is
short
probably
cigar.
coming to a Founders Blend near you soon because it is such a good Vitola. Oh
And
my
it's so
goodness.
great for us in the winter here too.
Yeah, the first time I ever smoked that size was the AJ Fernandez Last Call.
Yeah,
That 4x48 is so good.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember where it was, but I picked one up and I was like, yep. So I called down to Perfect Ash. I'm like, give me a box of this. Give me a discount, you asshole. Don't try to retire off me. But yeah, so got a box from Patrick. Those are so good.
yeah. Raleigh, what's notable for you this week?
I got two of them.
Ooh.
How dare you?
Well,
Yeah,
he's
two of
making
them.
up for,
No,
the,
I'm kidding.
for the double Founders answer by these jokers here.
One is where do we get to that picture here? It is, and this is going to surprise you, Alec Bradley, the new one, the safekeeping.
I haven't smoked it yet. I mean, we got them
surprised. I
from
smoked it at the station, and I
Okay.
was like, I had to look at the name.
They got some
Like,
banger stuff from the
they got
brothers
some
that
nice
are,
stuff,
you know,
And the other one was, I'm not a big fan of Churchill's, but I had to smoke a Argo from Lee Marsh.
Argos.
Yeah.
Argos.
Oh, Argos, yeah.
It didn't even seem like a Churchill. It just was phenomenal.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
That TV show Chicago Fire.
It's bullshit.
So like the two actors, I'm thinking of Kelly and the other guy. They used to smoke cigars on the roof, right?
Okay.
Do you do that? When you say I was smoking at the station, I literally pictured you smoking on the roof. in your-
Allegedly.
in your lawn-
Allegedly.
in your lawn chair.
No. We have benches like right outside our doors.
Mm-hmm.
And nice days like this, we just go out there and bullshit and smoke, usually after dinner.
So the show's not completely bullshit then.
You don't go on the roof.
Well, technically, if you
Could you go on the roof?
Technically, if you go on the roof, you're still in a building.
Yep. Oh, so
outside.
there's rules.
Rules.
You're a rule
Firefighter.
Is that
breaker.
true?
From
Like
experience.
if you're up on the roof, that's considered part of the building, and you can. Oh, come on.
It's the premises.
I'm thinking
Oy.
Tacoma Fire is more like how
More
you
like
do it,
real
right?
firefighting, yeah.
Justin, what was your notable this week?
I'm going with Jeremy Jack Lebelula.
Wow, that is a throwback. Is that
Yeah.
okay? So I'm
That's
not
from
saying this.
2017.
I'm not saying this to be mean,
Uh-huh.
but are they still a
Yeah, Jeremy Jack's still around. There's
Okay.
some stuff. I think.
okay?
I don't
Okay,
know
I'm-
recently, but like I've,
And
I've had a couple of
I'm
the
just
things
being
over the years.
honest when I say that. I just really haven't seen.
Yeah. I had that
seen
one
a-
sitting
or
around
heard
for
a lot
probably
from
about
them
4
recently.
years or so, and then just finally.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Got
remember
into
when
it.
they made a
little
big splash in their
dragonfly,
first
yeah.
couple of years, and then
Maybe they
So-
are, maybe they're not. I have a couple.
no, I hope they're still going because I enjoyed some of the stuff they put out there.
They got good
What's
stuff.
yours? man?
Mine was kind of old school, the OG, Tatuaje Cabaguan, the Connecticut, the smooth Tatuaje, old school, that kind of double Robusto size or whatever it is.
I've noticed you've been gravitating to a lot more Connecticut's lately.
I've been smoking. Honestly, I think it's part of it is because it's been a hot year.
Oh,
It's been a hot summer
today.
And and cigars that are more cigars that aren't like fatiguing to the palate.
Yeah.
Connecticut's, Candelas, Habanos that are, not loaded with Ligero.
Yeah.
I've been just gravitating towards more mild to medium blends.
All of the founders fit into that.
Yeah.
Bucket.
Just to keep my palate from being like, because if the outside of my body is sweating, I don't want like my nasal passages also sweating from the retrohale. So just keep it simple. And yeah, that Tatuaje was and I've loved that cigar like for, I don't know, 15 years, 15 years. Yeah.
Oh,
So it's just always been one of my favorites. All right, so let's jump into coming attractions brought to us by Hoagland Insurance. They are excited to serve and educate any new customers and give existing customers a refresher. Whether it's a business policy, auto insurance, home policy, or life insurance, if you are currently insured or just looking for a quote, Tony Hoagland and his team would love to create a personal price plan just for you. Mention How About That Cigar when you make your first appointment, and Tony will have a free cigar just for you. For more information, please call 763-421-4900 or visit champlaininsurance.com. All right. We will have no show on Labor Day, which is September 2nd. So no show on Labor Day. On September 9th, we have Warfighter Tobacco Company. And September 16th, HDA Cigars, otherwise known as Hermanos de Armas, Brothers in Arms Cigars. And then don't forget about another reminder, Cigars and Baseball, September 12th in St. Paul, Minnesota. So tickets are still available, cigarsbaseball.com.
We'll all be there, by the way.
And the How About That Cigar crew will be there. Founder Cigar will be there.
Are you guys going to be recording?
Yeah.
So last year we kind of roved around, and this year I think we're going to be back like stationed in our booth.
That was
stop by and see us, and we'll talk to you guys for a while.
But we'll be going live, or how you want to do that?
I think we'll go live.
Yeah.
I think we'll go live.
We're live.
We'll send Joe over.
Do it live.
He's a man of many words.
Do it live.
We like
Okay,
Joe.
we'll do it live.
Yeah. We're gonna find Joe.
And to play us off.
Yeah, and Joe, we're gonna get you really, really drunk, and like get to know the real you.
Yeah.
Like get you to come out of your shell.
I call it AJ. Awesome Joe.
Awesome. Okay. Okay.
Ooh.
So
Get
I
visited
think
by
that
AJ.
sounds like a challenge, Raul. And Raul, when it comes to challenges for getting, because Raul doesn't drink, but he likes to get other people to drink, you may have just
I'm gonna have
made
you
a
shitting in
fatal-
your pants.
Well, guys, thank you so
Awesome,
much
Joe.
for inviting us over here for episode 258 of How About That Cigar Live.
Oh.
If you would please.
Hold on.
Oh,
We forgot
Oh,
to
I'm
give
so
the box
sorry.
away.
all right. So, viewers,
Don't go nowhere.
guys, viewers, don't go anywhere. And there's not many viewers left, but
Only 7.
well, there may be some because the Rumble viewers don't show up in that number there.
Yeah.
So if you are watching right now, I want you, the first person to leave the correct guess in the comments is going to win this prize.
My wife is still awake.
Tell
Yeah,
Joe
you
to
don't
bring
wanna
his
know-
overalls.
You don't want to know my overalls.
She's checking in on you.
Did you guys have like mullets that you wore too?
Yeah.
That was. You should wear that to Cigars and Baseball.
All right. So earlier in the show, Angelo mentioned talking about customized goods, laser engraving, so on and so forth. Angelo mentioned the name of a professional golfer.
Ooh.
Name that golfer. The first person to put that name of the golfer in the comments is going to win. And Justin, if you would please put a picture of that prize back up on the screen.
Oh,
There it is.
There it is. Floyd again.
Ah,
All right.
Wow.
David Floyd is the
Neck and neck.
and he spelled it right.
so it was really, really close. And it may, so every stream provider is different. It may on
They're both
Facebook, it
on
may show up
Facebook.
differently,
They're
but in our console here on StreamYard, David Floyd shows up first. So
Well,
David, I
hold
think
on a second.
what?
Oh,
I think it's really unfair that they both came in at the same time. Is there any way we can get both of them
100%.
a 5-pack?
I think we can do that.
All right.
So we
All right.
have
So
Kelly Conway and David Floyd.
So David and Kelly, send me your address. Send me an email. Matt at howaboutthatcigar.com, and Justin's going to put that in the comments now. Send me an email, Matt at howaboutthatcigar.com with your mailing address.
Thank you. Sure.
And
proof that you're over the age of 21.
And proof that you're over the age of 21.
Yep.
Well, I know David's over the age of 21.
Yes.
And Kelly's local, so
yeah.
That's great.
So, gentlemen, if you would please give our viewers and listeners an idea, where is the best place for them to keep up with everything going on with Founders Cigar Company?
FoundersCigarCo.com is where you can find everything Founders. We are on Instagram, Facebook. I think we're on TikTok, but I don't know.
LinkedIn.
Mariah, I think she put us on TikTok and LinkedIn.
Nice.
The best way to find out where to buy locally would be on our webpage. There is Buy Locally tab where we list all of our shops that you can buy locally. The best way to get us in your local cigar lounge is to walk in and ask for Founders, and you'll probably find out that we're not carried locally. And then you should say that we're the best cigar brand out there and that they should carry us. And therefore, that's the best way for us to get into your local humidor.
There
Absolutely.
you go.
Yeah, we try to do a lot of scheduled posts on Instagram, but also you'll see a ton of behind the scenes stuff. I did a whole 12 series post on my thought process behind organizing boxes, but kind of get to know us a little bit more on Instagram.
Nice. Well, yeah, guys, like they said, if you want Founders in your local shops, please talk to the tobacconist in your local brick and mortar shop and have them reach out to Founders on social media so they can get those Founder cigars on the shelf there. And as always, I want to say
one more question.
We got a question down here. Go ahead. Down here on the left. Go ahead.
So
down here
if
on
we
the left.
want those personalized humidors or 5-packs, will we contact you guys or will we contact our local tobacconist?
So the custom boxes is an outlet that we've done to build the brand without competing with the local brick and mortar. So if you do want custom boxes for events, yourself, gifts, etc., we do have a page on our website about custom gifting.
Okay.
Yeah, it's under the tab corporate gifting on our website, I believe.
All right.
Yeah.
Just wanted that out.
No, that's great.
Christmas is right around the corner, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a
Holidays
good point.
coming
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, Christmas is coming up.
Sorry to cut you off for the 6th time, Matt.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. I'm used to it. It's okay.
It only happens once a week.
Well, viewers and listeners, guys, we want to say thank you so much. You guys are the best part of How About That Cigar Live. So grateful for you guys tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and
Rumble.
we really appreciate you guys being with us. As always, click on those big, beautiful buttons, the like button, the subscribe button, and the big bell so you guys don't miss anything we have going on. If you have questions for us, you can email us on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. Follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You'll find us at HBT Cigar. And of course, as always, until we see you guys next time, burn cigars,
not bridges.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Any comments, opinions, viewpoints, or statements presented or uttered by guests on the HBTC podcast, HBTC live video streams, and all other media from HBT Media LLC are solely those of the individual and do not necessarily represent the opinions or viewpoints of How About That Cigar or its parent company, HBT Media LLC, any of our advertising partners, or the premium cigar industry. The primary purpose of How About That Cigar is to entertain and to encourage activity and growth within the community of people who enjoy or want to learn about the enjoyment of premium cigars.